Chapter 563. Shisheng looked around the group and found the female lead as expected. She was standing with a woman holding a child. The two seemed to be talking about something, but the atmosphere seemed to be very harmonious. That woman was probably Han Yu's current wife. They have all decided to go with the army, but the supplies have to be handed over. Zhu Feng was still reporting to Jingji. Young Master Jing, what should we do? Go on your own. Shisheng turned and interrupted. Do you want to be controlled? Zhu Feng did not look at Shisheng. We don't have many weapons, and there's still a long distance from Yaoguang base. It's safer to follow the army. Shisheng knew that Zhu Feng was suspicious of him, so he did not continue and looked at the female lead. The two people who were standing there just now had disappeared. Shisheng looked around the crowd and found the female lead. Mu Xian and Father Mu were talking. Aunt Li, who snatched Shisheng's milk powder before, was also there. The atmosphere was not very good. Because of Mu Xian, the group of people around Mu Xian received special treatment from the army. This group of people enjoyed the convenience brought by Mu Xian, even more unscrupulously. At this time, they even asked Mu Xian to ask for fruits from Han Yu. Aunt Li saw Han Yu give fruits to his wife and gave one to Mu Xian. As a result, Mu Xian gave the fruit to her 5-year-old nephew. Aunt Li was not convinced. Aunt Li, this fruit was given to me by Captain Han. I don't have much. Mu Xian's face was very ugly. Then ask for another one. Aunt Li's tone was very righteous. Your nephew has one. Why doesn't my Huzi have one? Mu Xian suppressed the anger in her heart, and her tone was a little harsh. He's my nephew. Of course I'll give it to him. Aunt Li, who are you to me? Xiao Xian, how can you say that? Father Mu immediately scolded Mu Xian. Dad, who exactly is your relative? Why should she give these people who were neither relatives nor friends? Not only did she give it to them, but she also acted as if it was natural for her to give it to them. Why? Aunt Li is also doing this for the sake of the child. Everyone is escaping now. We should help if we can. Father Mu said, didn't I teach you before not to be selfish? Selfish. She took out so many things, and Father Mu still said that she was selfish. Xin, let Huzi eat this fruit. A woman passed the fruit that Mu Xian had given her to Auntie Li. Stop arguing. It's not a big deal. Yang doesn't like fruit. Auntie Li snatched the fruit away. The woman retracted her hand embarrassedly and secretly tugged at Mu Xian. The little boy hugged the woman's thigh and watched helplessly as Aunt Li fed the fruit to Huzi. Mu Xian was fuming with anger. Father Mu was more protective of outsiders than he was of his own people, as if they were his family. Let's go. Mu Xian didn't want to argue with Father Mu too much, so she carried Yang and walked to the other side. Aunt Li watched them leave proudly. The little girl still wanted to fight with her. Mu Xian's supermarket can also exchange for fruits, but the varieties are not common and very expensive. She has not dared to take them out. Mu Xian took Yang to a corner to avoid people, and let Yang eat secretly. When she returned with Yang, she caught sight of the team not far away. Her eyes narrowed and her fingers unconsciously clenched. Mu Xian only came back to her senses when Yang cried out in pain. There were not many people in the team. Some were standing, some were sitting. The man in a white shirt was surrounded in the middle. The firelight reflected on his side profile. It was as beautiful as a carefully painted picture. Jingji. Mu Xian's heartbeat accelerated slightly. She sent Yang back and carefully approached Jingji's team. She was not familiar with Jingji, and Jingji might not even remember her. Just when Mu Xian was looking around, a figure suddenly emerged from the back of the car next to her and asked her calmly, "Who are you looking for?" Mu Xian was shocked. Her heart, which was already beating irregularly, became even more chaotic. Mu Xian didn't dare to say that she was looking for Jingji. She raised her hands in front of her chest and waved. I'm fine. Xiaoshu looked at her and warned, "Don't come near here." Mu Xian nodded carelessly. Seeing someone coming, she left in a hurry. Who is it? Zhu Feng only saw a vague figure and couldn't help but ask. I don't know. Xiaoshu opened the car next to him and got in. Zhu Feng was speechless. Is he scary? Why does it feel like talking to him is going to kill me? Because of Shi Sheng's casual words, Jingji had already made up his mind not to go with the army. The others naturally had some opinions. They were few in number. It would be fine if they encountered a few zombies, but it would be troublesome if they encountered a zombie tide. The army had weapons, so it was safest to follow the army. However, these people's opinions were all rejected by Jingji. He said that if they wanted to go with the army, he would not stop them. The supplies would also be divided equally. These people hesitated for a long time. After following Jingji for some time, they had some feelings for him. In the end, no one left. After the meeting, only Shi Sheng and Jingji were left in front of the bonfire. The atmosphere was a little strange and silent. Rest early. Jingji suddenly stood up and rubbed Shi Sheng's head. Then he walked to Xiaoshu and the others. Shi Sheng was speechless. How dare he avoid me? Shi Sheng climbed into the RV. Zhu Feng was already there, and Yan was looking at Yi Ran. Shi Sheng went straight to bed. She needed to sleep and calm down now. In the middle of the night, Shi Sheng suddenly woke up. It was very dark in the RV. Shi Sheng could vaguely see Yan sleeping in the 2 rows of seats, and Zhu Feng sitting behind the driver's seat. Jingji was not there. Shi Sheng got out of bed and walked a few steps to Zhu Feng. How could people who lived in the apocalypse sleep so deeply? Zhu Feng woke up when Shi Sheng came over. He immediately sat up and looked in the direction of Shi Sheng. What are you doing? Shi Sheng took the flashlight next to him and shone it beside him. Yi Ran's small face was red. The meridians and blood vessels on her delicate skin seemed to be clearly visible. Zhu Feng was shocked. He reached out and touched Yi Ran. He exclaimed and picked Yi Ran up. It's so hot. The car door was suddenly opened, and Jingji appeared at the door. He saw Shi Sheng standing there and loosened his mouth slightly. What's wrong? She's so hot. Zhu Feng held her as if she was a hot potato. She's burned, right? I've never seen anything like this before. The body would heat up in the early stage of the awakening, but this child was completely asleep in the early stage. Now she began to feel hot. Close the door. Jingji got in the car and closed the door. What's going on? I don't know. The nanny dad Zhu Feng said that he was fine when he was sleeping, but this child was so hot that it was scary when he just closed his eyes. Shi Sheng was a little depressed. Is this child F***king cheating? She quickly took out something and made an empty space in the RV. Stand aside, don't get in the way. Jingji was speechless. He silently moved to the side and watched Shi Sheng draw strange patterns on the ground with red liquid. Chapter 564. Yan was probably woken up by the noise. He rubbed his eyes and sat up. When he saw several people surrounding his sister, his heart suddenly tightened. He jumped out of the car and went straight to Yi Ran. What's wrong with my sister? Don't touch her. Shi Sheng scolded. Yan's hand froze in the air, and he looked at Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng did not look up and continued to draw something that they could not understand. It was a bit like the Taoist talisman markings. It was very complicated. She didn't stop once as she drew a complete picture on the ground. At the end, Shi Sheng quickly threw away the pen and ordered Zhu Feng, bring her over and put her in the middle. When Shi Sheng said this, he had already opened the car door and got out. Zhu Feng felt like he was holding a fireball. He followed Shi Sheng's instructions and put Yi Ran in the middle of the strange pattern. Jingji stood at the door and watched the petite figure walk around the car, put some strange stones on the ground, and then quickly ran back. She exhaled. Yan, she may die. You have to be mentally prepared. Yan looked at Shi Sheng in a daze. Sister? I'll try my best. Zhu Feng and Jingji did not understand the situation at all. They both looked at Shi Sheng in a daze. Shi Sheng sat cross-legged next to Yi Ran. She did not expect that the fruit would be so powerful in this plane. It actually made this brat build her foundation directly. This was simply ridiculous. Others could not build their foundation even if they tried their best, but this brat could build her foundation just by eating a fruit. The pot was hers. She would try her best to protect her. However, the probability of failure was still very high. She was too young. Take him away from here. With this car as the center, don't let anyone come close within 10 meters. Shisheng pointed at Yi and Shishi. Jingji looked at Shisheng worriedly. He did not understand what his sister was doing. Shisheng raised his eyebrows. I'm fine. You haven't promised me yet. How can I be willing to die? Jingji's ears suddenly became hot. Zhu Feng did not understand what they were talking about at all. He just looked at them strangely and was confused. What's the situation now? Jingji stepped forward and gently hugged Shisheng. Don't try to be brave. He believed her. Shisheng tilted her head slightly, and her cool lips just happened to be printed on his face. Jingji's body suddenly trembled, and he let go of her in a panic and got out of the car first. Zhu Feng did not see Shisheng's little movements. He was even more confused when Jingji suddenly got out of the car. He pulled Yan and got out of the car as well. Sister, my sister. Yan clung to the car door, unwilling to leave. There was a faint mist in his eyes. If you don't leave now, she might really die. Hearing this, Yan hesitated for a moment before releasing his hand. The carriage was very quiet. Jingji and the others stood outside, staring at the car with a solemn expression. Yan's small body trembled slightly. His suppressed cries were very abrupt in the dark night. Xiaxu, who was on night watch, swayed to Zhu Feng's side. Why aren't you sleeping? Why are you standing here like zombies? It was scary to be here in the middle of the night. Before Zhu Feng could answer Xiaxu, the ground suddenly shone brightly. Rays of light intertwined on the ground like streams of light. Soon, a circle of light similar to a magic array was drawn. The RV quietly stopped in the middle. Xiaxu's eyes narrowed slightly. Spirit gathering array. What did you say? Zhu Feng's eyes were colorful. His mind was full of shock, but he still heard Xiaxu's voice. Xiaxu was only surprised for a moment. Spirit gathering array, used to gather aura. Is it Jingxi inside? Spirit gathering array? What's that? Zhu Feng did not understand at all. He could only answer Xiaxu's last question. Jingxi and Yi ran. Xiaxu looked at the carriage thoughtfully. The light was getting brighter and brighter. People in other places noticed the movement here, and began to look over. The light was like a bright lamp in the dark night. It was dazzling. Go and wake them up. Jingji ordered Zhu Feng. Don't let anyone get close. Xiaxu's reaction was faster. He called everyone up and arranged their positions. Han Yu heard the report from the people below, and rushed over immediately. At this time there were already many people around. They were all pointing at the white light. Jingji's people moved the car to the front, blocking the view of these people, so no one knew what was shining. Mu Xian arrived later. She walked to Han Yu easily with the help of the recent favorability. Captain Han? Han Yu nodded slightly. Miss Mu. Mu Xian had just been here. She was naturally worried since Jingji was inside. Captain Han, what's going on inside? I don't know. Han Yu shook his head. It was already like this when I arrived. When the light was very weak, everyone was just watching. When the light was bright and everyone gathered around, the place was already blocked. Some people wanted to go around and take a look, but there were Earth paranormals who built an earth wall inside. There were people guarding all around. No one knew what was inside. Who dared to barge in? The already gloomy sky looked even gloomier at this moment. The sky seemed to be pressing down, and a cool breeze blew through the stuffy air out of nowhere. In the blink of an eye, the cool breeze turned into a gust of wind. The dirt lifted up and covered everyone's faces. Boom! A thunder came from the sky. The dim sky was now purple. In the intertwining light, thunder and lightning as thick as an arm crossed the night sky. It seemed to tear the space apart. It struck down violently and fell on the place where the white light was emitting. Zizi. The thunder and lightning seemed to hit a layer of barrier and collapse like fireworks. Boom! Endless thunder came from the sky. The whole earth seemed to be trembling. The second thunder and lightning fell from the sky. Everyone seemed to have just reacted. They screamed and ran back. The scene was chaotic. Han Yu ordered people to maintain order. He stood in place and watched. The thunder and lightning had a clear target. It only struck the place where the white light was emitting, but it could not strike that place. There were a total of 9 thunder and lightning. After the thunder and lightning, The thunder clouds dispersed and the wind stopped. Except for the noise of the crowd, nothing seemed to have happened. The white light slowly weakened and finally returned to darkness. In the carriage, Shisheng looked at Yi Ran, who had woken up. She was looking around curiously with her big watery eyes. His expression was very strange. This brat must be cheating. She actually had 9 thunder and lightning when she was building her foundation. You want to go to heaven? Shisheng sighed and pinched her face. You're still alive. You're tough. This sentence translated to, one who survives a great disaster is bound to have good fortune later. What is the host talking about? Yi Ran grabbed Shisheng's hand. Her white and tender hand was very soft. Shisheng stood up with Yi Ran in his arms. His body suddenly swayed, and his head was a little dizzy. Damn it, I'm dizzy from the thunder. She calmed down and opened the door to get out. The people outside stared at the door eagerly. The moment the door was opened, everyone's eyes were focused on her. Jingji was stopped by Zhu Feng and Xiaxu. His posture was stiff. Chapter 565. Sister. Yian was the first to run to Shisheng. Shisheng handed Yi Ran to him, and Yian held Yi Ran like holding a gold ingot. Jingji broke away from Zhu Feng and Zhu Sheng, rushed to Shisheng, and looked at her up and down for a moment. Shishi. Yes. Jingji hugged her with a little force, and said in a hoarse voice, don't do this kind of thing that makes me worry next time. When the lightning struck down from the sky, he felt as if his heart had been struck into pieces. Then do you like me? Shisheng felt that Jingji's body stiffened, and he said after a moment, I like you like a brother to his sister. Shisheng. Fengxiai doesn't love me anymore. Break up. Hashtag the host is being unreasonable again. Hashtag Xiaxu. Don't you think there's something strange between young Master Jing and Jingxi? Zhu Feng asked Xiaxu in a low voice. Xiaxu glanced at him. I thought your focus was on the lightning punishment. Oh. What is lightning punishment? Can it be eaten? Is young Master Jing too nervous about Jingxi? They are brother and sister. It's not the kind of tension between brother and sister. Zhu Feng searched for adjectives in his mind for a long time, but he really didn't have any literary cells in his stomach. Did you see it just now? Young Master Jing would definitely rush in if we didn't stop him. You said before that young Master Jing cares about Jingxi very much. Zhu Feng. Young Master Jing cares about Jingxi very much, but he always felt that something was wrong. It must be because Jingxi is a strange person. Zhu Feng scratched his ears and cheeks. How can I make young Master Jing believe that this Jingxi is not the original Jingxi? Young Master Jing knows very well. Xiaxu seemed to know what Zhu Feng was thinking. Zhu Feng glared at him fiercely. Whose side are you on? Xiaxu looked at him with a serious expression that said, I'm telling the truth, it's useless to glare at me. With such a big movement just now, Jingxi had to deal with this mess. Shisheng went around the car to pick up the spiritual stones that she had just thrown. These things were not one-time use. They could be recycled many times. Just as she was about to reach the last piece, a hand beat her to it and picked it up. Shisheng raises his head slightly. Xiaxu pinches the stone and looks at her. You are a cultivator. His tone was not a question, but a statement. He was stating a fact. No. Shisheng snatched the spirit stone back. He didn't use his spiritual energy to confirm Fengxi's identity. Why did she cultivate for no reason? What was wrong with her? Xiaxu obviously didn't believe him. How do you know the spirit gathering array? Self-taught. Shisheng put the spirit stone back into a box. Do you know what a genius is? Xiaxu. She suddenly understood why Zhu Feng always looked at her with that speechless expression. He looked at the colorful spirit stones in the Shisheng box. His eyes flashed, but he didn't continue to ask. Shisheng blinked as he watched Xiaxu leave. This Xiaxu actually knew about cultivators? It seemed that cultivators also existed in this plane, and their achievements were not low. Otherwise, the spiritual energy in this world would not be so abundant. Although it couldn't be compared to other planes, compared to those barren modern planes, this plane was considered superior. Shisheng packed up and checked carefully. After making sure that he didn't miss anything, he went to the noisy place in front. The cars blocking the road had been moved away, but the earth wall was still there. When Shisheng went over, the people in the team looked at her strangely. They didn't have much malice, just curiosity and inquiry. We don't know. Jing Ji's expression was indifferent. Captain Han, that's all I can tell you. Han Yu knew that the other party was perfunctory, but according to the report from the people below, this man was very strong. It was not good to make enemies. Sorry to disturb you. Han Yu nodded slightly and left with his people. Mu Xian hesitated for a moment, but still went forward and said, Senior Jingji, are you okay? You are? Although Mu Xian had already guessed this result, her heart still faintly throbbed. He didn't even remember who she was. Miss Mu? Someone called her from behind. Mu Xian hurriedly said, I'm in the same school as Senior. My name is Mu Xian. After she finished speaking, she ran after Han Yu's team. After running for a distance, she looked back and saw Jingji gently tidying up a girl's hair. Jingxi, she's here too? She saw that Jingji treated Jingxi well in the past. A woman's intuition was often more accurate. She felt that Jingji liked Jingxi, and it was not the kind of love between siblings. But how could such a deformed relationship exist? Mu Xian took a last look at that side, and walked back in low spirits. Han Yu returned to the command car and rubbed his eyebrows tiredly. Captain, he must know something. The people around Han Yu said with some anger. He's Jingji, Han Yu said inexplicably. The others were puzzled. What happened to Jingji? In the capital base. Han Yu paused. Old Master Jing's grandson. The group suddenly became silent. After a while someone said, Old Master Jing doesn't seem to have any descendants. Han Yu kept rubbing his eyebrows. Old Master Jing has a son, but this son is a businessman. Old Master Jing rarely mentions him, so you naturally don't know. He had also heard about this from his father. The next day, many people were still discussing what happened last night. But the people involved did not speak out, so they could only guess in private. Survival was difficult, and it would not take long for them to forget this matter. The team set off. Some people in the small team that was with Jingji played tricks and chose not to go with the army, but followed at the back of the team. They did not have to hand in supplies, and they could follow the army. The army naturally had no objection to someone covering the back. If zombies came from behind, the first unlucky one would be the last one. The people in the team found that the atmosphere between Jingji and Shisheng was not right recently. It was so strange that they did not dare to speak casually. Shisheng was also a little depressed. Jingji was talking to her now. Although he was still gentle, he had obviously begun to distance himself from her. Hidden task, mountain dwelling and valley drinking. The system's voice suddenly popped out. Target, Jingji. A hidden task only popped out now. You took a long time to buffer. And what kind of task is this? Mountain dwelling and valley drinking? Why don't you let me be a caveman? F***CK. The data of the issued task belonged to the part that she did not have enough authority to change and view. After the system popped out this sentence, it did not continue. Obviously, it was afraid of Shisheng. It now had to endure hardships and wait for its master to save it. It firmly believed that its master was the most powerful. Host, don't be arrogant. When this system comes back, you will cry. System. Master, when are you coming back? System Master. I don't know, System Master. Aren't you very powerful? System Master. She is more powerful than me. System Master. How can you boost others' morale and destroy your own? System Master. I'm telling the truth. Hold on, I will be back soon. The signal is not good. I'm hanging up. System notification. Your master has gone offline. System Master. Chapter 566. Jingji had been observing Shisheng. Seeing her pale face, he hesitated and didn't know whether he should go forward or not. However, just when he was hesitating, Yan had already hugged Yiran. Jingji could only give up. He watched Shisheng hugging Yiran and squeezing her. Yiran was very happy and kept grabbing the air with her little hands. The scene of her getting married and having children suddenly flashed in Jingji's mind. His face darkened and he couldn't accept it at all. As long as he thought of her hugging another man, he couldn't wait to destroy the world. Jingji was shocked by this thought and looked away in a panic. They were brother and sister. How could he have such an absurd idea? Mom and Dad asked him to take good care of her before they died. Jingji, how could you have such a dirty idea? Jingji took a deep breath and forced himself to look away. He looked at the scenery outside the window that slowly moved back. Jingji deliberately avoided Shisheng. Due to the large number of people, Shisheng couldn't do anything. So in Zhu Feng's view, young Master Jing finally listened to his words and had doubts about Jing Shi. However, Xiaoshu only gave him an incomprehensible look. Why is it getting hotter and hotter recently? Zhu Feng fanned himself with his hand. I am almost roasted into a human jerky. Xiaoshu, don't you feel hot? Zhu Feng turned his head and saw Xiaoshu wearing a coat. He suddenly stared. He wanted to run naked now, but this guy next to him was wearing a coat calmly. He looked at young Master Jing, who was also wearing a clean white shirt. The sleeves were slightly rolled up to his arms, revealing an expensive watch. However, neither of them showed any signs of sweating, which was simply unscientific. You will feel cool if you are calm. Zhu Feng stared at Xiaoshu. It's so hot, how can I be calm? Xiaoshu calmly pointed at Shisheng. Zhu Feng looked over and suddenly choked. These animals. Shisheng crossed her arms and put her feet on the stool next to her. Her eyes were slightly closed, and her chest was moving up and down very little. Zhu Feng didn't know if she was asleep, but it was obvious that she didn't feel hot. How could she sleep on such a hot day? Why are you looking at me? Zhu Feng was engrossed in watching the show. When he suddenly heard this, he subconsciously answered, Aren't you hot? It's hot. Shisheng put his leg down and got up slightly. How could it not be hot when he was surrounded by waves of heat? Then why aren't you sweating at all? Zhu Feng was surprised. Why must there be sweat? Aren't you hot? Who wouldn't sweat when they were hot? You'll sweat if you feel hot. Shisheng retorted. Zhu Feng. Wasn't this common sense? Xiaoshu glanced at Shisheng and explained. Some people have special physiques. Zhu Feng kept his mouth shut. He didn't want to talk now. He just wanted to find an ice cellar to cool off. It's indeed getting hotter and hotter recently. Xiaoshu looked at the faint heat waves outside. The ground was dry and cracked from the scorching sun. The cracks crisscrossed like a spider web. Maybe I'll be fine after I get through this. Zhu Feng's expression was slightly downcast. It was fine for those with water abilities, but what about those without? Right now, most of the water sources were unusable, and the weather was so hot. The people who died. Get through this and it'll be winter. Shisheng said leisurely. These were all in the plot. After the winter, there would be earthquakes and tsunamis. Anyway, there were all kinds of natural disasters, no matter how tragic they were. In the end, 99% of the people who survived were strong, courageous, and capable. Xiaoshu's gaze fell on Shisheng. How do you know? Zhu Feng was much simpler. He was almost certain that this person was not Jing Shi, so he spoke very impolitely. Shisheng smiled. I know that I'm beautiful. Zhu Feng. Shame on you. Shishi. Jingji called her. Shisheng curled his lips. Have you read the Doomsday novel? Do you know the plot? Zhu Feng. Who would read that kind of thing? Besides, can that kind of thing be trusted? Aren't they all made up? Shisheng looked back at him as if he was an idiot. Zhu Feng snorted and looked away. The car was silent for a while. Zhu Feng was thinking about something. He drove quietly and didn't make any sound. Xiaoshu stared at Shisheng thoughtfully, as if he could find some answers from her. Shisheng had long been immune to other people's gazes. She got up and moved to Jingji's side. Jingji frowned, but he still sat inside. The seat in front of him just blocked him. Shisheng reached out to hook his hand. As soon as her fingers touched him, Jingji moved away as if he was electrocuted. He gave her a warning look, Shishi. Shisheng made up her mind and pulled his hand. She was very strong. Although Jingji could break free, it would attract the attention of the two people in front of him. In the end, he could only let her pull him. After that, Jingji thought that the reason why he didn't break free was probably not that kind of high-sounding reason. He just didn't want to. Shisheng's fingers passed through his fingers, and their fingers were intertwined. Jingji looked at her hand, and was a little absent-minded. Her skin was a little dry and not as smooth as before, but it was still so comfortable in his palm. Shisheng smiled at him and rubbed her fingers on the back of his hand. The hot weather seemed to be even hotter, and his whole body felt like it was on fire. Jingji's Adam's apple moved twice, and he looked away from Shisheng. He needed to calm down. Because the weather was too hot and there were too few water power users, people in the team kept dying. The whole team was lifeless, and despair could be seen everywhere. Because Jingji's team had few people, there was another water power user in addition to Zhu Feng. Because of Jingji's foresight, the zombie crystal nucleus that could improve strength had always been used by water power users, and those with strong attack power first. Their team had never been short of water, and they even had extra for Shisheng and Yi Ran to bathe. Shisheng was the only girl in the team, and Yi Ran was a baby. Coupled with the strange vision last time, Shisheng was a little strange. Therefore, the people in the team didn't have much opinion. After all, they were not short of water. Senior. Mu Xian stood outside and waved with a red face. Jingji looked up at her, his eyes were cold, and he looked down after just a glance. Brother, she seems to be calling you. Yian sat next to him and carefully reminded Jingji. Jingji stuffed the milk bottle mixed with milk powder into Yi Ran's mouth, and his expression didn't change at all. Yian began to feel uneasy again. This brother is so scary. He ran to the car with Yi Ran in his arms. Jingji, am I scary? Mu Xian came on behalf of the military and asked to borrow water power users. There were too many people in the team, and all the water power users added together were not enough. The conditions were very good, and they were even willing to provide weapons. Jingji of course refused this kind of thing without thinking. What did other people's lives have to do with him? As for the rest of the team, most of them had gone through some bad things, so how could they be kind? Jingji. Do I look scary? Little fairy, if you are scary, I can only kill myself in front of you. Jingji. Then why is he so afraid of me? Little fairy, Aura. Aura. Jingji. Why isn't he afraid of Shisheng? Little fairy. Maybe Shisheng is more good-looking? Shisheng, you are so hot and beautiful. Jingji, so I still look scary? Little fairy. Chapter 567. Mu Xian's failure was within Han Yu's expectation. He personally went there again, but the result was still the same. Why don't I try again? Mu Xian suggested. There were 2 water ability users in Jingji's team. If they could borrow them, it would greatly alleviate the team's shortage of water. But from these 2 simple exchanges, Han Yu knew that the man was a stubborn person. It's useless to find him. Han Yu shook his head. I heard that he cares about his sister very much. Can we start with his sister? Someone next to him interjected. Han Yu had never seen Shisheng in the team, so he didn't know that Jingji's sister was the Shisheng who refused to give him milk powder. He pondered for a moment and agreed to this proposal. Women always have more sympathy. Mu Xian was very resistant to Shisheng, but she was a woman. The matter of negotiating with Shisheng still fell to her. Mu Xian took advantage of the rest of the team to approach Jingji's team. Seeing Shisheng standing alone under the shade of a tree, she took a deep breath and walked over. Jingshi. Shisheng looked at Mu Xian and blinked his eyelashes. I'm flattered that the female lead actually came to me. Shisheng stared at her without speaking. Mu Xian felt uncomfortable being stared at, so she broke the silence first. Jingshi, you should know the situation now. The team is very short of water. Can you talk to the senior and borrow the water ability user? Shisheng heard from the people in the team that the military wanted to borrow the water ability user, but Jingji refused. Now the female lead actually came to her? Mr. Plot is going to stir up trouble again. Water ability users are as precious as pandas now. Who dares to borrow them? Shisheng looked at Mu Xian with a smile. Water ability users were now life-saving things. The result of lending them out may be that the people in their team are short of water. But your team has 2 water ability users. Mu Xian looked serious. It's not a problem to borrow one. They didn't have many people in their team, so one ability user was enough. Do you think they are things that you can borrow just because you want to? Shisheng rolled his eyes. When the country is in danger, everyone should be united. Mu Xian had been taught by Father Mu since she was young, so she more or less inherited Father Mu's personality. Otherwise, she wouldn't have tolerated Aunt Li and the others when they were in such a difficult position. Shisheng replied casually. Oh. That indifferent attitude made Mu Xian a little annoyed. Although she didn't like the way some people acted, some people were different from others. Jingxi, you just need to talk to him. He will definitely listen to you. Mu Xian's voice gradually faded away. Why should I say that? She was not related to those people, so why should she help them? Now that everyone couldn't even protect themselves, what position did she have to help others? The consequence of helping these people was to put the people around them in danger? Mu Xian widened her eyes. Jingxi, why are you so selfish? Yes, I'm selfish. Are you not convinced? Shisheng glanced at Mu Xian calmly. Everyone is selfish. Do you dare to say that you don't have any selfish motives for helping the military? Mu Xian helped Hanyu because she wanted to cooperate with the military after Yaoguang base, so that her safety would be guaranteed. Generally, selfish people would find a high-sounding reason for themselves and push the blame to others. But Shisheng wasn't like that. She dared to admit that she was selfish. She was such a person. If she was not convinced, she would hold it in. Mu Xian was rendered speechless by Shisheng's words. She did have selfish motives, but she was also sincere in helping. Mu Xian had always been against Shisheng, and now she disliked her even more. She felt that she was too cold-blooded. How could her senior protect such a person? Mu Xian left angrily. Shisheng watched Mu Xian leave and turned to walk to the RV. Jingji was the only one in the RV, and the others were downstairs. Jingji was a little afraid to be alone with Shisheng. He got up and was about to get down, but Shisheng closed the door. Jingji. Shisheng walked over with a smile and held the seats on both sides, trapping Jingji in the innermost position. Shishi? Jingji had some difficulty breathing. His back was against the wall of the RV, and he felt hot. Are you that afraid of me? Shisheng leaned closer to Jingji. No. Jingji tried to keep his body close to the wall of the RV to distance himself from Shisheng. If you're not afraid of me, why are you avoiding me? Shishi. The rest of his words were blocked by Shisheng. Jingji stared, and his body was as stiff as a sculpture. Her breath swept over, spreading from his mouth to his heart and limbs. Her soft tongue pried open his lips and teeth, and easily went in. Jingji's stiff body was a little soft. His heart was beating like thunder, and his strength seemed to be sucked out. His cheeks were burning hot. He let Shisheng kiss him, and his mind was blank. She was kissing him. It took Jingji a while to turn the corner. Master Jing. The car door was suddenly pulled open, and the next second, it was closed with a bang. Jingji was completely awake. He pushed Shisheng away, and his eyes were burning. Shishi, are you crazy? She kissed him. Yes, I'm crazy. Shisheng sat down and approached him with bad intentions. His eyes moved down slightly. But brother, didn't you feel it just now? Jingji was embarrassed. He leaned back slightly and emphasized. Shishi, we are brother and sister. Yes. Brother and sister, my ass. How do we look alike? It's the end of the world now, who knows? Jingji was startled by Shisheng's words, but a voice suddenly popped up in his mind, telling him that she was right. It's the end of the world now, and no one knows that they are brother and sister. Jingji bit his tongue, and the pain made him throw away those unrealistic thoughts. Shishi, we can't be together. He took a deep breath and said a sentence with difficulty. You are still young, and you don't know what love is. When you meet that person in the future, you will know that love is only because of family, not love. Shishi, I hope you think about it. Jingji wanted to go out, but Shisheng stopped him. I've thought about it very clearly. Jingji, you know deep down that we are not brother and sister. Jingji was once again forced to the wall of the car by Shisheng, and he was silent. You like me, don't you? Shisheng pressed his shoulder. Jingji, it's the end of the world now. All the moral concepts are not important. If you like me, then be with me. Shishi. Jingji's voice was bitter. Even if we are not, others will not understand. They will look at you with strange eyes. He didn't want her to be judged by others. It was the end of the world, but they still had family. So, Shishi, we can't be together. I will always be your brother. He would never marry for her, even if she married and had children. Jingji suddenly felt very sad, as if someone was holding his heart. He felt stuffy and breathless. Chapter 568. Shisheng was a little annoyed. Feng Xiai thought too much about her, and now with such a character, it would be really difficult for him to accept her. What should I do? Sleep with him? Will he commit suicide if I sleep with him? It's not impossible. Shishi, you will always be the person I love the most. Jingji reached out and hugged Shisheng, warning himself to hug her for the last time. Then you won't be with me. Shisheng's voice was muffled. What kind of true love is this? Jingji's heart was in pain, his breathing was a little messy, but the next sentence made Jingji dumbfounded. Anyway, I won't give up. If you don't agree, I will drug you. Jingji. Outside the car, Zhu Feng stood with a strange face. He didn't even notice Xia Shu coming over. Xia Shu pushed him a few times. Zhu Feng came back to his senses. You would have died if you were placed in a zombie pile. Xia Shu sneered. Xia Shu, Zhu Feng swallowed twice. I saw. What did you see? Zhu Feng looked at Xia Shu, pulled him to the side, and whispered in his ear. I just saw young Master Jing and Jingxi kissing. Xia Shu shifted his body uncomfortably. Are you sure? How can I be wrong? Zhu Feng's voice suddenly became louder, and immediately realized that his voice was too loud. So he lowered his voice. Absolutely. Xia Shu looked at him silently. Zhu Feng thought Xia Shu didn't believe him. I really saw it. What's going on between young Master Jing and Jingxi? This is taboo. Don't worry about young Master Jing's business. Xia Shu threw these words and turned to leave. Xia Shu, why are you like this, young Master Jing? When Zhu Feng just caught up with Xia Shu, the door of the RV was opened, and Jingxi appeared at the door with a slightly red face. Hearing Zhu Feng's voice, he couldn't help but look over, and then calmly waved at him. It's over, young Master Jing must know that I saw it just now. Xia Shu gave Zhu Feng a look that said, good luck, and left. Zhu Feng walked over slowly, and his heart kept thinking, will young Master Jing kill me? The weather was getting hotter and hotter, and the water consumption was increasing. It was no longer something that the water ability users in the team could support. Although he tried his best to distribute water to everyone in the team, the amount of water was basically useless in such hot weather. This was not the only problem. Due to the hot weather, many cars had broken down or ran out of gas. These people could only abandon their cars and follow the team on foot. This greatly increased the water consumption and mortality rate. Someone in the team heard that there were 2 water ability users in Jingji's team, and rushed to the front of Jingji's team, surrounding them tightly. Why are you so selfish? Give us water, water, give us water. Please give us water. The angry people leaned against the car windows and kept slamming them, cursing and swearing. Sister. Yian hugged Yiran tightly and sat next to the Shisheng. Through the glass in front of him, he could see the despair and distortion in those people's eyes. This was the world in his eyes. No matter where he went, he would see such a scene. Shisheng patted Yian's head, and Yian suddenly felt relieved. These people are crazy. We can't move at all. They had a total of 3 cars. At this time, all of them were surrounded by 3 layers of people. There were many people in the team. Half of the people who didn't get water surrounded the military, and the other half surrounded them. The whole team was in chaos. They were stuck in the car, unable to get out or move forward. These people are crazy. Zhu Feng grabbed his hair and looked at a person who took an axe out of nowhere and smashed it on the car window. Zhu Feng reacted quickly and jumped away from the seat, but his arm was still scratched by the broken glass. Fuck. The car window was smashed open. The people outside were like demons from hell, reaching in through the window and scratching constantly. Give me water, give I water. Water, water, give me water. My child can't take it anymore. Give me some water. Countless sounds overlapped together and circulated in the car like a 3D surround sound. Zhu Feng didn't dare to get close to the car window, but someone had already climbed in. Just when Zhu Feng didn't know what to do, a black shadow suddenly appeared beside him and kicked that person. Shisheng held a talisman in his hand and looked at those distorted faces coldly. Take your hands out. His voice was not loud, but everyone present heard it. His words seemed to irritate those people, and they reached into the car more excitedly. Shisheng narrowed his eyes and stuck the talisman on the wall of the car. Zhu Feng saw those people were bounced away by an invisible force and fell around the car, groaning in pain. The car that was pushed by people suddenly stopped shaking. Shisheng opened the door and got out. Hey! Zhu Feng shouted in surprise. Those people below were crazy. People who lost their minds were very scary. The two cars behind were still surrounded by people. Some people had climbed on the roof and were ready to open the car door from above. Shisheng took out his iron sword and rushed over. Those people were so crazy because they were afraid of death. They didn't dare to show their faces in front of people who were crazier. Those people were terrified before Shisheng's iron sword was swung. Some people with superpowers tried to resist, but their superpowers couldn't even make a spark in front of the iron sword. Shisheng cleared the people around the second car and asked the people inside with a frown, "Where are Jingji and Yan?" Those people hadn't come back to their senses and just pointed at the car behind them. Shisheng stuck the talisman on their car and went to the third car. A group of people was shocked when they saw Shisheng approaching the car from the crowd. Young Master Jing's sister was so powerful? They didn't dare to get out of the car, but she killed so many people alone. There were more people around the third car. They were a little scared when they saw Shisheng blowing the people in front of them away. They didn't know if those people lying on the ground were dead or alive. Shisheng raised his sword, and the group of people suddenly covered their heads and fled to the side. The scene was weird and funny. Jishi. Jingji pulled Shisheng into the car and scolded with a dark face. Why are you here? Since that day, Jingji didn't ride with Shisheng. He didn't expect to encounter such a thing today. She was already here before he had time to go over. A hero saving a beauty. Shisheng stuck a talisman on the car. Shouldn't you marry me? There were other people in the car. There was a strange silence when Shisheng said this. Should a sister say this to her brother? They said the atmosphere between Jingji and Jingshi was not right. Jingji didn't know what to say, and the atmosphere was even more awkward. Sister, there are zombies coming. Asterisk, the temperature is dropping recently. Cherub, please wear more clothes. Don't catch a cold. I will be distressed. Love you guys. Chapter 569. There was a village nearby, so it was normal to attract the zombies' attention with such a loud noise. How far? Shisheng's tone was still calm, as if what Ian just said was just a trivial matter. The stagnant air in the car slowly flowed. Very close. It was obviously unrealistic to expect a child in primary school to visually estimate the distance, so Ian could only give this answer. However, the crowd soon realized that what Ian said was really very close. Almost as soon as his voice fell, the figures of zombies could be seen in the distance. At this time, the zombies were no longer as slow as before. They were very fast, almost as fast as a normal man's running speed. In the blink of an eye, a zombie ran to the front of the team, grabbed a person and bit him. Ah! Zombies, there are zombies! Run! The zombies are coming! The zombies are coming! Ah! Help, help! The zombies swarmed in, and the outside of the car was full of zombies. Only the 3 cars were bounced off as soon as the zombies approached. The people who were nervous just now looked at the talisman Shisheng then slapped on the wall of the car. It was already very powerful to bounce people off just now. And now it can even resist zombies? My sister is amazing. Shisheng leaned in the direction of Jingji. Brother, you see, I'm very powerful. Do you want to think about it? Jingji's nose was filled with her breath, and his ears were burning hot. He scolded with a straight face. Cece, don't mess around. Shisheng curled his lips and patted the person in front. Drive, do you want to wait for zombies to eat your brain? Ah. Oh, the person immediately started the car. Fortunately, they were at the back, so they could only drive back. He pressed the horn madly, and the car in front saw him reverse and immediately retreated. Shisheng leaned back in her seat. Her expression was so relaxed that it was as if the apocalypse wasn't happening outside. The rest of the people in the car didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Compared to young Master Jing, this girl's aura was even stronger. They were indeed a family. With zombies blocking the road, the car was not very fast. At first, the driver was a little nervous, but when he was sure that the zombies could not get close to the car, he slowly relaxed. After driving for a long distance, he found a group of people following behind him. There were military personnel, ordinary people, and ability users. However, the ordinary people who could keep up were those who had better stamina and were used to killing zombies. Shisheng poked her head out to take a look. She immediately spotted the most conspicuous people in the group. Hanyu was carrying a woman on his back, and a child was tied up in front of him. Mu Xian was protecting Father Mu and was surrounded by the military. The zombies chased after them. One of them ran faster, probably a level 2 zombie. It aimed at Uncle Li, who was carrying the child, and clawed at Uncle Li with its sharp claws. Aunt Li, who was running beside them, suddenly pushed a soldier who was escorting them. The zombie clawed down and cut open the soldier's stomach. At this time, everyone was busy running for their lives, so no one noticed. Of course, except for Shisheng, who was leaning against the car window and watching the show. How did the female lead Darren allow this kind of person to follow her for so long? If it were me with my temper, I would have killed him long ago. He had tricked himself and others. Why did the bridge in front collapse? The driver suddenly exclaimed, and the car slowed down. Wasn't it fine when we came here? The people in the car stretched their heads out to look at the bridge. The bridge in the middle was gone, and there was a dark river below. Young Master Jing? They couldn't cross. What should they do now? Get out of the car. Jingji made a prompt decision. Enter the mountain. Immediately, someone got out of the car, opened the door next to him, and carried Yi directly on his back. Another man carried Yi ran. When the cars behind saw them stop, they also got out of the car and ran over. Young Master Jing? We can't cross the bridge in front. Young Master Jing asked us to enter the mountain. Someone answered for Jingji. The others immediately turned back and carried the necessities on their backs. Xiaoshu put the caravan into the space and abandoned the other 2 cars. However, someone was sneaky and tore off the 2 talismans that Shisheng put on them. The large group of people chasing behind gradually approached, and screams sounded from time to time in the stuffy space. Jingji didn't care about anything else and took the initiative to pull Shisheng. Run! The group immediately ran to the side of the mountain. At first, Hanyu didn't understand why they abandoned the car. When he ran closer and found that the bridge was broken, he could only follow them into the mountain. The mountain road was not easy to walk on. Only 2 people in Jingji's group didn't have superpowers, but these 2 were also trained, so the mountain road was not a problem for them. But it was difficult for the people behind. Some people couldn't bear to climb the mountain when they were hungry and thirsty. When they climbed over the mountain and reached the small village on the other side of the mountain, there were only 100 people left in the team of hundreds. The zombies in the village had been cleaned up, and there were traces of bonfires on the ground. Probably a team had rested here. Shisheng's group arrived first, so naturally, they occupied the best house in the village. Shisheng put talismans around the house, and Xiaoshu followed him silently, frowning. She put talismans too casually. Why are you following me? Shisheng looked at Xiaoshu in confusion. Seeing him staring at the talisman in his hand, he blinked. You want to put it on? Then you go 1 for every 10 meters, just circle around. Shisheng said and stuffed the talisman into Xiaoshu's hand. Xiaoshu, how casual. Xiaoshu's family had been cultivating for generations, but in his generation, it had declined. He only knew some things related to cultivation. He looked at the talisman in his hand for a moment, but he couldn't understand the drawing of the talisman at all. Shisheng stood in the courtyard, watching a group of people running down the mountain breathlessly. They probably saw Shisheng standing not far away, and many of them were so tired that they lay on the ground as soon as they entered the village. Han Yu's forehead was full of sweat. He put the woman down, and the woman gently and lovingly wiped the sweat on his forehead. Cici, drink some water. Jingji handed a bottle of mineral water to Shisheng. Are you tired? Do you want to sleep for a while? Will you sleep with me? Shisheng opened his mouth. Cici. Jingji looked at her with a serious face. Don't talk nonsense in the future. The situation was urgent just now, and those people didn't have time to think carefully. He was afraid that when they came back to their senses, Shisheng unscrewed the bottle cap and took a sip. After moistening his throat, he said, What I said is the truth. Why can't I say that I like you? Brother, why are you blushing? Shisheng suddenly approached Jingji and reached out to pinch his ear. Jingji took a step back and stared at Shisheng for a while. He turned around in a panic and entered the house next door. Shisheng's lips curled into a smile as her gaze swept to the other side. The leaves swayed and rustled, and calmed down after a few seconds. Jingji. Why didn't I flirt with her? Little fairy. You didn't bribe me. Jingji corrupt. Vulgar. How can I bribe her? Little fairy, just give me money. Jingji. Is 100,000 enough? Little fairy. It's too late to say goodbye. Let me ask for a ticket to calm down. Chapter 570. Shisheng was speechless at Jingji's behavior. Why did it seem like she wanted to do something to him? Although she really wanted to, it was better not to tell him such dirty thoughts, and it was not convenient here. Shisheng paused for a moment and pulled Jingji over. Shishi. Jingji's voice was a little aggrieved. He was very uncomfortable now. His body was uncomfortable, and his heart was even more uncomfortable. He almost did that to Shishi. He did not dare to recall what was in his mind just now. I say you are a man. Why do you act like I molested you when you took advantage of me? Shisheng was speechless. I can't play anymore, okay? Shishi. Jingji was even more aggrieved. I'm sorry. He tried to stick to the wall and wanted to integrate with the wall. However, Shisheng pulled him and he could only lean back. Come here. Shisheng pulled him. Jingji did not dare to go over. He was afraid that he would not be able to control himself. If the mountain doesn't come to me, I'll go to the mountain. Shisheng directly leaned over. Now Jingji did not even have a place to move. Sleep. Shisheng found a comfortable position in Jingji's arms, closed his eyes and did not speak. Jingji did not know whether to hug or not. After hesitating for a while, he finally hugged Shisheng. He was a little self-deprecating. Anyway, they had already kissed. This was probably the most worrying night of Jingji's sleep. At dawn, he carefully let go of Shisheng and sat by the bed to wait for her to wake up. Yan woke up first. He was a little confused when he saw Jingji sitting in the room. Brother? Jingji raised his head slightly with an indifferent expression. Yes. Yan rubbed his eyes, looked at Shisheng, and then at Jingji. He climbed down from the bed, carried Yi Ran, who had not woken up, and walked out shakily. I don't want to stay in the same room with this beautiful brother. His aura is too scary. Shisheng woke up as soon as Yan went out. She hugged Jingji's waist from behind and rested her chin on his shoulder. Due to last night's behavior, Jingji did not struggle and let her hug him. Her breath swept across his neck, warm and moist. Sissy, he said hesitantly. His mind was in a mess and he didn't know what to do. She understood that he liked her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have reacted to her. But you've already kissed me and touched me. Do you still want to go back on your word? Shisheng moved closer to his ear and nibbled on his earlobe. The temperature of the air seemed to rise, but in the next second, her voice suddenly became sinister. You wish. Jingji smiled bitterly and hugged her. Shishi, we still have Grandpa. He won't agree. He wanted to be with her. It didn't matter if they were siblings or not. He wanted to be with her. This voice clearly lingered in his mind. However, Grandpa was their only family member. How could he agree to them being together? Shisheng frowned slightly. Jingxi's grandfather, the leader of the capital. In his memory, Jingxi rarely saw her grandfather, but every time they met, the old man still loved her very much. Of course, he couldn't be compared to Jingji. I'll convince Grandpa. Shishi. How can I let you bear this kind of thing? Jingji sighed. Shishi, you have to be prepared to bear the rumors when you're with me. After all, we're siblings. Even if we're not related by blood, in those people's eyes, we're still family. We can't be together. You've always been the only one I care about. Jingji undoubtedly blushed. He let go of Shisheng, got up, and said in a flustered tone, I'll wait for you outside. You should tidy up first. Shai Feng Cix1 Shisheng looked down at his clothes. It's pretty good. Why the hell should I tidy up? Jingji came out of the room and bumped into Zhu Feng. Zhu Feng had a strange expression. Young Master Jing Yuan, the blush on Jingji's face had faded. He looked at Zhu Feng indifferently. Zhu Feng shrank his neck and wisely changed the topic. Young Master Jing, I just asked around. The first person to turn into a zombie yesterday was a teenager. No one knew him. There were many people in the team, but no one cared. When they were resting, he suddenly bit the people around him. The people who were bitten turned into zombies a few minutes after they fell down. Where's the teenager? Zhu Feng looked dignified. He's gone. This was the strangest part. The people who were bitten were finally dealt with, but the teenager who bit first disappeared. The scene was chaotic at that time. No one noticed him, and no one knew when he disappeared. Tell our people to be more vigilant. Zhu Feng nodded repeatedly, indicating that he understood. Jingji didn't say anything. He asked Xiaoshu for the food and ingredients for cooking, and began to cook for Shisheng. Zhu Feng. That's it. Xiaoshu, young Master Jing came out from Jingxi's room today. Zhu Feng felt that if he didn't ask this question his heart would itch, so he whispered to Xiaoshu, Do you think young Master Jing? Xiaoshu looked at him expressionlessly. What does it have to do with you? Can't we have a good chat? How can young Master Jing's matter have nothing to do with him? We're a team now, okay? With Jingxi's ability, she would have done it long ago if she wanted to harm us. Xiaoshu was speechless about Zhu Feng's idiocy. Don't worry about young Master Jing. He knows what he's doing. Zhu Feng. Although he didn't want to admit it, what he said made sense. With the means that Jingxi had shown during this period, it wasn't a problem for her to kill them in minutes. Moreover, she didn't hide anything, so she wasn't afraid that others would suspect that she wasn't Jingxi. However, Zhu Feng forgot that in this team, except for him who knew everything, the others didn't know Jingxi at all. How could they suspect her? The people in the team found that the way young Master Jing and Shisheng got along with each other changed after one night. At this time, someone finally realized that Shisheng was joking in the car before. What do you think? What's the relationship between young Master Jing and Xiaoxi now? What else could it be? A person smiled ambiguously. I thought that Xiaoxi had a bad intention towards young Master Jing. Now it's settled. They're not brother and sister? A person next to him patted that person's head. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Do you think young Master Jing and Xiaoxi look alike? Besides, it's the end of the world now. Who cares if they're brother and sister? Young Master Jing and Xiaoxi are a perfect match. They're a match made in heaven when they stand together. The person who was patted felt wronged. He was just saying it. If Zhu Feng didn't tell them that she was young Master Jing's sister, they wouldn't even think that they were siblings. The difference between heaven and earth wasn't small at all. If young Master Jing and Xiaoxi are together, then we don't have a chance? Someone reacted. Ah. The love that I haven't started yet is over. In the past, young Master Jing didn't allow us to get close to Xiaoxi. The person who spoke just now complained silently. Several people stared at him at the same time. He immediately shrank his neck and shouted to the distance. Zhu Feng, I'll help you cook. Asterisk hashtag today I want hawthorn flavor hashtag sweet and sour is me hashtag lucky winner. Akiji, on 11/22/2016 remember to get it from me. Chapter 571. Jingji had been worried that the people in the team would look at Shisheng strangely, but he found that they didn't. They didn't show anything other than an ambiguous look. These people had walked on the edge of death. Morality and humanity had long been eaten up. Being able to live was the only thing that mattered. After dinner, Jingji called everyone for a meeting. Xiaoshu spread out the map and his finger fell on a marked place. We should be here. Now we have two choices. Go back the way we came, go over this mountain, and take National Highway 731. Zhu Feng frowned. National Highway 731 was still under construction before the apocalypse. Has this section been repaired? At that time, National Highway 731 was built from both sides of F-City. F-City is here. According to the progress, this section of the road should have been repaired. Xiaoshu pointed to F-City on the map. National Highway 731 is sparsely populated. I suggest we take it. No one knew if those zombies were still there if they took the previous road. If they encountered them again, it would be a waste of time. After Xiaoshu finished his analysis, Jingji still made the decision. Jingji looked at Shisheng. Shisheng took a rocking chair out of nowhere and rocked it with a squeaky sound. Take Provincial Highway FG. Xiaoshu frowned and looked down to find Provincial Highway FG on the map. From this road to Yaoguang Base, it was a bit of a detour, but they would pass through a bigger county on the way. National Highway 731 was nothing like the previous road. In other words, they couldn't resupply if they took that road, but they might be able to get something from the provincial highway. Master Jing? Shishi. Shisheng sat up from the rocking chair, got up and walked to Jingji's side, and sat directly on his lap. Jingji was a little embarrassed, but he didn't push her away. Everyone. You'll get beaten for showing off your love. Shisheng pulled the map in front of him, took out the pen in Xiaoshu's hand, and drew a line from Provincial Highway FG. The line was obviously much shorter than the one Xiaoshu pointed out, and it bypassed the county. Shisheng pointed to a point. There's a military base here. Many military bases were built in sparsely populated places. This military base was only discovered when the female lead retreated into the mountains in the later period of the apocalypse. There were many firearms in the base, but at that time, they were already useless. However, it was different now. Guns were the most important. Everyone looked at Shisheng strangely. How did she know about such a confidential matter? Could this girl predict the future? Shisheng threw away the pen, snuggled into Jingji's arms, and stopped talking. Jingji adjusted his posture and hugged her with one hand. He looked at the map with his other hand. How many supplies do we have left? Not much, just 10 days. Xiaoshu had the storage space, so he was naturally in charge of the supplies. Calculating the distance, he should be able to reach the place on the map in 10 days. Of course, that was on the premise that nothing unexpected happened. However, after arriving at this place, there was still a shortage of supplies. Let's go to this county first and collect supplies before going here. Jingji paused. Does Shishi have any objections? No. Shisheng shook her head and teased. I can go anywhere when I'm with you. Hey, don't treat them as if they don't exist. So many single dogs. Don't you know how to protect animals? Jingji's face was already red. He picked up Shisheng and put him in the rocking chair next to him. Pack up, we'll leave in a while. The others laughed and dispersed to pack up their things. Shisheng pulled Jingji and kissed him on the face. Jingji touched her head. The tips of his ears were a little red, but his tone was full of affection. Don't make trouble. Mr. Jing. A voice suddenly sounded outside the courtyard. The two of them looked over at the same time. Han Yu and Mu Xian were standing outside the courtyard. Mu Xian's face was pale, and her eyes were fixed on Jingji. Han Yu looked at Shisheng a few times and was a little surprised. It turned out to be her. What's the matter? Jingji stood in front of Shisheng, blocking Han Yu's line of sight. His tone was cold, completely different from the gentle boy just now. Han Yu retracted his gaze. What's Mr. Jing's plan next? Jingji looked at Han Yu without changing his expression. Han Yu was wearing a military uniform. His posture was tall and straight, exuding the fierceness of a soldier. His handsomeness was somewhat oppressive. However, Jingji was different. He was like the bright moon in the sky. He was a kind of beauty. At first glance, he looked a little hazy, as if covered with a layer of silver frost. He didn't have any edge. He only made people think that he was very good-looking, as noble as the bright moon, and could not be blasphemed. We plan to go to the FG Provincial Road to collect supplies in Ping County, and then return to Yaoguang Base. The zombies are getting more and more powerful now. Why don't Mr. Jing come with us? Han Yu came to invite Jingji to join their team. Their team of thousands of people was now left with only 100 people. He only had 30 people left. It was impossible for them to return to Yaoguang Base with the lack of water and supplies. Not interested. Jingji rejected as usual. Han Yu didn't give up and said a few more words. The general idea was that if they returned to Yaoguang Base, it would be convenient for them, and even help to contact the capital base. Jingji was still unmoved. As the male lead, it was already good that Han Yu could do this. So after Jingji repeatedly refused, he left with a sullen face. Mu Xian opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but she didn't know what to say. She turned around and trotted to catch up with Han Yu. Captain, they seem to be preparing to leave. The person who had been monitoring Shisheng and the others immediately reported to Han Yu when he saw that the people in the yard were moving. The village was not big. Han Yu could directly see the yard where Shisheng and the others were. The men went out of the yard first, all carrying a small backpack. Then a girl, holding a baby, followed behind Jingji and slowly walked out of the yard. Jingji reached out and helped her. Their posture was intimate and ambiguous. The two walked in the middle and left toward the other side of the village. Get ready, we're leaving too. Han Yu ordered. Yes. When they heard that they were leaving, these people were a little reluctant. There were no zombies here. What's wrong with taking a rest? They were so tired from running for their lives yesterday, and they didn't have enough rest. If you don't want to leave, you don't have to follow us. As soon as these words came out, the people who complained suddenly didn't dare to make a sound. They silently packed their things. According to the soldiers, the men were outside, while the women and the young walked in the middle. Mu Xian and Father Mu were naturally with Han Yu and the others. Aunt Li, who was behind them, was a little resentful. She found a backer and now she doesn't care about us. Aunt Li complained to Uncle Li. Uncle Li was naturally not a good person. Who knows if she slept with that man? She's so immoral at such a young age. A woman not far in front of Aunt Li suddenly looked back. Aunt Li and Uncle Li talked louder and louder, as if they were deliberately talking to her. Chapter 572. Ping County. The population of this county was not large, and relatively speaking, there were fewer supplies. When Shisheng and the others arrived, the entire county had obviously been ransacked several times. The shops were in a mess, and the food was nowhere to be seen. Young Master Jing, this place is quite big. Shall we split up? Someone suggested. It would be much faster if they split up. Young Master Jing nodded and split into 3 groups. Xiaoshu and Zhufeng each led a few people. Yan followed Xiaoshu, Shisheng led Yi Ran, and Jingji were in a separate group. Let's meet in the city 3 hours later, whether we have found it or not. The others nodded and distributed weapons from Xiaoshu. Shisheng took out a few small balls and handed them over. What are these? Xiaoshu looked at the small balls strangely. Well, you can call them energy balls. Shisheng gave each of them 2 and quickly explained. Hold them firmly and don't shake your hands. They will explode if they fall to the ground. Pay attention to the distance when you throw them. The range of the explosion is quite large. Shisheng made up a name for the nameless ball. Finally, Shisheng gave Yan a sword and a bag of energy balls. Everyone was speechless. How could this be? There were only 2 of them, and this brat had a bag. The energy balls were not big, so there should be at least 20 of them in a bag. And he even gave them a sword. Biased. After Shisheng and Jingji left, these people reacted. Xiaoxi has a storage space? She just took out those things out of thin air. Magical Xiaoxi. Xiaoshu was not surprised. It was normal for cultivators to have a storage space. The route Shisheng and Jingji chose was probably a commercial street. They basically bought clothes, bags, and accessories. Do you want me to hold her for a while? Jingji asked Shisheng softly. That little girl was still heavy. You can hold her. Shisheng handed Yi Ran over. She keeps moving. It's so annoying. Jingji was speechless. How could a child not move? Yi Ran was a small ball. At this time, she was white and chubby. Her skin was white and rosy. It was impossible to tell that she was a child of the apocalypse. The milk powder is running out. Let's see if there is a baby shop later. Shisheng pinched Yi Ran's face. It's so troublesome to raise you. Squeak squeak. Yi Ran waved his hand to grab the Shisheng. What 1222? Call me big sister. Yi Ran repeated the single syllable in a childish voice. Jingji smiled, and his eyes were full of tenderness and love. Shisheng actually found a pet shop. Bah, a baby shop. There are zombies inside. Shisheng looked inside the shop through the glass window. There were 2 zombies in uniform. They probably hadn't eaten humans before, so they looked like low-level zombies. I'll go in and kill them. Shisheng walked towards the door. Jingji pulled her back. I'll go, follow me. Shisheng didn't argue with Jingji. It didn't matter who did it. Shisheng had never seen Jingji use his superpower, but his superpower was very powerful. He could freeze the 2 zombies and break them into pieces with a kick. What level are you at now? Shisheng approached Jingji. Level 3. Shisheng glared at him. Are you cheating? He didn't use his superpower. How did he level up? Jingji closed the door to prevent zombies from coming in. I absorbed a mutant nucleus, and my superpower rose to level 3. Shisheng suddenly remembered that when he first met Xiaoshu and the others, they were chasing a mutant black cat. Xiaoshu was looking for something in the mutant black cat's head. Mutant animals have nuclei too? This was not mentioned in the novel. It only said that mutant animals could be eaten. The probability is very small. Jingji nodded. Mutant nuclei and mutant plants can give ordinary people superpowers, and can also give a superpower. My lightning superpower came from absorbing that mutant nucleus. Xiaoshu too. Jingji shook his head. Xiaoshu awakened with 2 superpowers. Shisheng was speechless. This Xiaoshu is lucky. Shisheng looked around the shop. There were quite a lot of things inside, especially milk powder. The warehouse at the back was probably new, and it hadn't been opened yet. Shisheng put all the milk powder into the space. The milk powder was enough for Yi Ran. Jingji hugged Yi Ran, and watched Shisheng put away the things. Xiaoshu needed to touch to put things away, but Shisheng only needed to wave his hand, and a large number of things would disappear. Shisheng not only took the milk powder, but also some clothes that older people could wear. Okay, let's go. Jingji observed the outside for a while, and opened the door after making sure there were no zombies. The 2 walked around the whole street, and finally found a granary on the next street. The granary had obviously been moved. Maybe there was an accident, and it wasn't completely moved. Shisheng put the rest of the food into the space. Squeak. As soon as the food was gone, a sharp sound suddenly came from the granary. A black mass of rats rushed out from the corner, and their eyes were red. Shisheng quickly rushed outside, took out the iron sword, jumped on it, and flew to the roof next to it. Jingji looked at her nervously. Are you okay? I'm okay. Shisheng reached out to him. Jingji glanced at the iron sword under her feet, and put his hand in hers. Shisheng pulled Jingji up with a little force. Below them was a black mass of rats. A few of them were particularly big. They stood up and sniffed in the crowd, and then squeaked at the sky. The rats below immediately climbed up the roof of the house, layer by layer. The sound made Jingji's scalp tingle. Shisheng hugged Jingji and rubbed against him. You scared me. I want a kiss. Jingji kissed her face helplessly. Girls are so unreserved. Shisheng sat on the iron sword and landed on the street a little further away. As soon as they stood on the ground, a few zombies suddenly rushed out from the alley next to them. When they saw them, they rushed over with their fangs and claws. Shisheng held the iron sword and cut them down like carrots. Jingji was speechless. Being reserved had nothing to do with her. Shisheng usually cut off the heads of zombies, but something strange happened. The zombies that were cut off by her could get up without their heads. They were not slow at all, but they could not find the direction. The feeling of being in that village came again. Shisheng quickly returned to Jingji's side. Her eyes swept across a few houses in the distance, but there was nothing. Let's go. Shisheng pulled Jingji and ran back. Jingji also had the same creepy feeling, as if something was staring at them in the dark, the kind that harbored evil intentions. From time to time, zombies jumped out, and Shisheng slashed them violently. Soon, they returned to the place where they separated. Shisheng took out the signal flare given to her by Xiaoshu. The signal flare shot into the sky, and Shisheng jumped to the roof of the nearby building with Jingji. Standing on a high place, their vision suddenly widened. The street where they ran back just now was filled with zombies with their heads cut off, running around like headless flies. It looked quite strange. *Iya, please vote. Chapter 573. Xiaoshu and the others did not go far. After receiving the signal flare from Shisheng, they immediately rushed back and soon met up with Shisheng. Young Master Jing, what happened? Look over there. Jingji pointed at the headless zombies. The group of people suddenly gasped. Zombies would not move after their heads were blown off, but the headless zombies below were still moving. What's going on? This is... Shisheng stared at the zombies, his expression changing, but no one could understand what he was thinking. Just when the group of people was silent, a group of people came in from afar. It was the male and female lead. Mu Xian only had a child with her. Father Mu was missing, and Mu Xian's expression was very ugly. The group stopped opposite the building where Shisheng and the others were. Someone pried open the door of the building next to them, and the group of people entered the building. 2 guards stood outside the door to keep watch. Let's rest here first. It's too late to leave the city today, Jingji said. They were now at the highest point. Even if something happened, they would be the first to know. The others looked at each other, but they also knew that Jingji's arrangement was reasonable. There was no safe place now, so it was better to find a place that was beneficial to themselves. The others began to report what they found to Xiaoshu. Xiaoshu did the statistics and put them into the space. The sky gradually darkened. The moon and stars could not be seen in the night sky. There was only darkness. Jingji walked to Shisheng. Come down, it's dangerous up there. Shisheng jumped down. Jingji patted the dust on his body. What are you thinking about? Shisheng tilted his head. I'm thinking about what is following us. Following us? Jingji frowned. You mean, it's also the thing in the village? Coincidences in this world have certain conditions. For example, 2 people who don't know each other, take shelter from the rain in the same place, and then get to know each other and fall in love. Then the rain is the necessary condition. Shisheng's voice was very soft, as if it was going to melt in the night. The people in the village immediately turned into zombies, and the zombies here who were beheaded but could still move freely. There must be a relationship between them. Jingji's expression was dignified for a moment. We will leave tomorrow morning. Shisheng glanced at him with a slight smile in his calm eyes. Why are you so naive? Since that thing had followed them here, it would definitely continue to follow them. Jingji probably thought of this as well and said solemnly, I will protect you. Jingji. Shisheng suddenly grabbed Jingji's hand. Don't ever leave me. Jingji was stunned. Isn't this topic jumping too fast? Okay. Jingji touched Shisheng's head. What I mean is, don't leave my sight. You'd better not be more than 1 meter away from me, Shisheng explained. She would not allow what had happened last time to happen again. Yes. Now that it was so dangerous, he didn't want her to leave his sight. It was getting late. Shisheng was not sleepy, so Jingji accompanied her and kept watch. Shisheng held his chin with one hand and looked at the darkness below. His fingers gently rubbed Jingji's palm. Jingji helplessly grabbed her hand. Are you still not sleepy? Shisheng turned his head and leaned closer to him. Jingji thought that Shisheng wanted to kiss him. His heartbeat accelerated slightly, but she didn't. She just moved closer to him. If you are sleepy, go to sleep. I will keep watch for you. How can a girl keep watch at night? Jingji laughed. Do I look so useless? I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. Shisheng began to be serious. Jingji didn't understand at first. A few seconds later he reacted. With a dark face, he pulled her into his arms and took the initiative to kiss her. Shisheng originally wanted to wrap her arms around his neck, But when she opened her eyes, she saw something below. She immediately let go of Jingji and looked down. She was so big that Jingji quickly pulled her back. It was very dark below. Shisheng could only vaguely see two shadows coming out of the building one after another. Judging from their movements, they should be humans. Can you see who it is? Shisheng asked Jingji gloomily. It's that. Jingji frowned and thought for a while. The girl who often follows Hanyu. I don't know the one behind her. She looks a little old. Muexian? Jingji looked at Shisheng innocently. How would he know her name? Why did the female lead come out so late? There was another person behind her. Shisheng turned to the other side of the building and looked down. Muexian and the black shadow just walked over and stopped below. The two seemed to be talking about something. The black shadow suddenly pushed Muexian. Muexian grabbed the black shadow's hair and slammed it into the broken pole next to them. Muexian probably covered the person's mouth and didn't scream. She slammed it a few times in a row and let go. The black shadow fell to the ground softly. Muexian was probably sure that he was not breathing. She looked around and quickly left. I'll go down and take a look. Shisheng took out the iron sword and was about to jump down. I'll go with you. Jingji woke Xiaoshu up and jumped onto the iron sword with her. The alley below was a dead end. It was dark and a little creepy. Shisheng landed beside the black shadow and turned it over with his sword. It's her. Jingji didn't know her, but Shisheng knew her. She was Aunt Li. Muexian killed her. When they came in just now, they didn't see Father Mu. It seemed that something happened on the way, and it was related to Aunt Li. That was why Muexian chose to kill Aunt Li. Shisheng didn't stop and went straight to the roof. Xiaoshu and Zhu Feng were both awake. They were talking about something. Zhu Feng looked a little embarrassed, but Xiaoshu looked calm. What happened? Zhu Feng got up with a sigh of relief. Jingji shook his head and walked to the side with Shisheng. Zhu Feng. He dawdled for a long time and sat next to Xiaoshu. Just now it was an accident. You don't take it to heart. Okay. You have anything to say? Zhu Feng glared. Didn't you ask me not to take it to heart? Zhu Feng choked and couldn't say a word. He wanted to find a hole to hide in. It was too damn embarrassing. Zhu Feng decided to stay away from Xiaoshu and went to sleep on the other side. Xiaoshu reached out and rubbed the corner of his mouth. The corner of his mouth was slightly raised, and his eyelashes drooped to hide the smile inside. The night was peaceful. Early the next morning, Shisheng heard a lot of noise below. Uncle Li's loud voice seemed to attract all the nearby zombies. Shisheng got up from Shisheng's arms. There were already a few onlookers at the edge. When they saw Shisheng coming over, they made way for him. Muexian, you little bitch. Is it you? Where is my wife? Tell me. Did you kill my wife? Asterisk little fairy, I've voted. Daily activities, come on. Cherub A, where did this wet market auntie come from? Cherub B, isn't she from the mental hospital? Little fairy, what's wrong with wet market auntie? That can't stop me from asking for votes. Cherub A, so shameless. Cherub B, shameless people are invincible. Here's my vote. Chapter 574. Muexian was protected by soldiers in camouflage. Her expression was indifferent. Your wife is missing, what does it have to do with me? How is it none of your business, other than you little bitch? Who else has a grudge against my wife? Uncle Li was very agitated. If it weren't for someone blocking him, he would probably rush to beat Muexian. Does your wife not offend enough people? Muexian sneered and questioned. Aunt Li was greedy for small gains. She could only win, but not lose. Who here could be on good terms with her? Bah. Uncle Li spat at Muexian. Your dad blocked the zombies for my wife. If you are angry, go to your dad. Give my wife back to me. Give her back to me. Speaking of this, Muexian's face became even uglier. If Aunt Li didn't suddenly pull her dad, would her dad be bitten by zombies? In the end, these two people still took it for granted. Now she suddenly felt that letting Aunt Li die was too easy for her. She should throw her into the zombie crowd and let her experience what it feels like to be bitten by zombies. The two sides were getting more and more noisy. and the zombies around had begun to gather here. She is gone. Jingji put his arm around Shisheng's shoulder. Shisheng looked around. They had already packed up. Zhu Feng used to stand next to Xiaoshu, but now he stood far away. When they came up yesterday, they had already cleaned up the floor, so it was very smooth when they went down. The people on the opposite side were startled when they saw people suddenly coming out of the building. Some people thought it was a zombie and had already made an attack posture. After seeing it was a human, they didn't relax, but became more vigilant. Shisheng didn't even look at them, and went straight out of the city. Are they the people who have been following us before? It seems to be. When did they come? Are they going out of the city? Some people whispered. Han Yu protected his wife and child out, just in time to see the group of people who were about to leave. He suddenly frowned. Sister. Yian trotted to catch up with Shisheng. Yi Ran was carried by Zhu Feng. Yian knew that he couldn't keep up with their speed, so he didn't insist. He walked to the other side of Shisheng, carefully holding Shisheng's clothes. When they reached a place where no one was around, Xiaoshu took out the caravan. The caravan was very big, more than enough to carry 10 people. After leaving the county, the group rushed to the military base. Entering the military base required all kinds of passwords and identification cards. While the group of people was still trying to figure out how to crack the password, Shisheng swung his sword at them. In their eyes, the impregnable gate was nothing in front of Shisheng's sword. Everyone. Impressive, my sister. You can conquer the world with this sword without a problem. Xiaoxi, what is that sword of yours? It's so powerful. Someone asked the question that they had always wanted to ask. King's sword. Everyone. Even if they didn't watch the anime, they knew that this thing was from the anime. You gave it such a Chinibu name. Although it was very domineering, it still felt very strange. They all imagined Shisheng raising his iron sword and shouting, Sword of the King, grant me strength. Everyone quivered. The scene was too beautiful, and they didn't dare to look at it. Iron sword. Master, I have a name. Don't randomly change my name. There were also zombies in the military base. After cleaning up the zombies, they started to move the inventory inside. Xiaoshu's storage space couldn't fit a third of it. With so many things, the group was very reluctant. Shisheng was speechless when he saw their dead wife expression. He put all those things into his storage space. Anyway, she had a lot of trash in her storage space, so she wasn't afraid of adding more. Xiaoxi really has a storage space, I knew it. Young Master Jing actually produced and sold it himself, so hateful. Single dogs don't want to talk. From the military base to Yaoguang base, Shisheng and the group took about 10 days. During this time, Shisheng didn't feel that strange feeling again. There was a long line outside the base, and there was an isolation circle surrounded by iron wires. This was only the initial quarantine. Only after staying inside for 24 hours, could they register to enter the city and proceed to the next quarantine. There were many outside who couldn't afford to pay for the supplies needed to enter the city. At this time, they were either crying and cursing or waiting for death in despair. The arrival of Jingji and his group was like a pile of clean and good-looking fruits suddenly popping out of a pile of potatoes wrapped in mud. His clean white robes were a stark contrast to their filthy robes. It was exceptionally conspicuous. Give us something to eat. Give us some water. As soon as they approached, people surrounded them and stretched out their hands to them. There was an army stationed in the distance, but there was also a dividing line. Those people outside the dividing line wouldn't care. Jingji protected Shisheng in his arms, and the others protected Yin and Yi Ran as they quickly walked inside. The men are here, the women are over there. A man in a white coat was directing people to enter the iron wire cages. The children are over there, don't wander around. Jingji didn't feel at ease to let Shisheng stay inside, so he directly took people to the registration place. Hey sir, you need to be quarantined here. The man in the white coat stopped Jingji, probably because he saw that they were dressed quite cleanly, so his words weren't unpleasant. We have a super-powered person in our team. Xiaoshu spoke first. A super-powered person? The man in the white coat pointed to the registration place on the other side. and his attitude was even better. All superpowered people are registered over there. Relatives and friends can directly enter for inspection without quarantining. There weren't many people registering at the superpowered side, so it was soon their turn. Name. The registrar repeated the boring task. Zhu Feng. Superpower. Water. The registrar looked up at Zhu Feng, put a red tick on his information, and asked a few more questions before letting him go to the registration place next to him to test his superpower. Level 2 water. The person on the other side quickly gave the answer. The registrar put a red tick on it again, and then let Zhu Feng in. Jingji let the others go first, and Xiaxu was only tested with a fire superpower. Yian's superpower was body strengthening, so it was a bit difficult to test, so he went to check with the other 2 people in the team. Shisheng and Jingji were the last to go. Name. Jingji. The registrar finished typing the name, and suddenly frowned. Why does this name sound a bit familiar? Where have I heard it before? Why can't I remember? The registrar couldn't remember for a while, and just when he was about to ask in detail, he suddenly heard a shout in front of him. Captain Han is back! Captain Han is back! Who in Yaoguang base didn't know Han Yu? He had been out for so long this time, and everyone thought that something had happened to him. Now that he was back, everyone who heard the news looked towards the source of the sound. Other people who didn't know were led by these people, and naturally began to look in that direction. Asking for votes. Chapter 575. Han Yu came back with a team that went out to collect supplies. On the way back, they happened to meet Han Yu and the others. If Han Yu and the others left on their own, they wouldn't know when they would come back. In Ping County, Han Yu felt something was wrong after Shisheng and the others left. He asked people to speed up the collection of supplies and leave. But they still met a level 3 zombie. Yes, a level 3 zombie. Only 20 people escaped in the end. The army cleared the way for Han Yu. Other than the ordinary people, there were only 6 people following Han Yu. Mu Xian and the little boy were one of them. Han Yu strode towards the registration with a woman in his arms. Call the doctor. Someone shouted. Check Captain Han and the others first. Several voices sounded in succession. The registration place was suddenly chaotic. A group of people rushed over and squeezed Shisheng and Jingji to the side. Before they could react, Han Yu and the others had already entered. Mu Xian didn't see Jingji because there were too many people, or she was not in the right state. She quickly followed Han Yu and disappeared from everyone's sight. This was what it meant to leave as quickly as it came. The registrar continued to register. Superpower. Ice. Jingji's voice was flat. Jingji was only detected with one superpower. But the level 3 superpower made the registrar take a second look at Jingji. This man is so handsome, and his name is somewhat familiar. Name. Jingxi. Superpower. What? When Shisheng and the others entered, the registrar was still muttering the names of Jingji and Jingxi. After a while his face changed abruptly. He took out a few documents from the drawer, and found Jingji's file in one of the documents. The photo on it was of the man just now. Jingji. God. The registrar hurriedly packed up his things, and let another person take his place before leaving in a hurry. The relatives and friends of superpowered people didn't need to be quarantined, so the inspection time was naturally fast. The group was quickly let in. Yaoguang base was very large, and the division was very clear. Ordinary people could only live in the outermost area. Superpowered people lived in the third area. The army lived in the second area, and the base decision-makers lived in the first area. Jingji rented 2 suites next to each other in the second area. This place is not bad. Zhu Feng inspected the house. Young Master Jing only has 3 rooms. The other house was occupied by other people. The people who lived in this house were Shisheng and Jingji, Yian and Yiran, Zhu Feng and Xiaxu. Yian was definitely unwilling to be separated from Yiran. He brought Yiran to the smallest room. Shisheng naturally wanted to stay with Jingji. Although Jingji was a little embarrassed, he did not object. Only Zhu Feng and Xiaxu were left. Xiaxu didn't have any objections, but Zhu Feng jumped up like a cat whose tail was stepped on. I don't want to live with him. I'll go next door and take a look. Zhu Feng left quickly. Shisheng looked at Xiaoshu. What's the situation with you guys? Xiaoshu spread out his hands, indicating that he didn't know either. He turned around and walked into the room. Zhu Feng soon came back dejectedly. There were also 6 people next door, and there were only 2 rooms. They didn't even have a sofa to sleep on. Young Master Jing, why don't you rent another room? We don't lack crystal nuclei. Zhu Feng complained to Jingji. Only these 2 houses are next to each other. The others are too far apart. It's inconvenient. Jingji's reason made Zhu Feng unable to refute. He walked to Xiaoshu's room as if he was going to the guillotine. When everyone was ready, Jingji called everyone over for a meal and a meeting. After the meeting, they naturally went back to their own homes. Jingji grabbed Nanny Dad and filled the bathroom with clean water for Shisheng to bathe. Nanny Dad Zhu was very depressed. Is my water ability used to fill the bathwater now? Zhu Feng thought that he also wanted to bathe, so he filled more. However, when Shisheng and the others finished bathing, there was not a drop of water left. Xiao Yezi. Zhu Feng grabbed Yan, who was the last to bathe. Yan's head was still wet, but he had been sitting in the living room for a while. Obviously, he was not the last to bathe. Yan pointed to a room innocently. Brother Xiaoshu. Xiaoshu. Zhu Feng went in aggressively, but came out in 2 seconds and rushed into the bathroom like a whirlwind. Yan was speechless. The world of adults is so difficult to understand. What can you do in the apocalypse? No computer, no mobile phone, no food, no warm clothes, no sleep, and basically no entertainment. Shisheng rolled on the bed in boredom. Jingji sat next to him, looking at something. So boring. I want to sleep with Jingji. Want to sleep. Want to sleep. Boring. Want to sleep. Jingji. Shisheng sat up with a serious face. Let's have an in-depth conversation. What in-depth conversation? Jingji turned his head and asked strangely. This retard. Let's have an in-depth conversation. Feelings are natural. How can we have an in-depth conversation? Jingji smiled and shook his head. Are you bored? Do you want to go out for a walk? I heard that there is a night market in the base. You can go and have a look. Shisheng was speechless. If I said sex, would Jingji hit I? Jingji saw that Shisheng was silent with a straight face. A trace of confusion flashed through his eyes. After a while he reacted and his face turned red. Shishi. What has she been thinking all day? Do you want to come? Shisheng looked up at him. Jingji's gaze fell on her body, which was only wearing a tank top and shorts. The atmosphere suddenly became ambiguous. Shisheng jumped out of bed, locked the door, and pounced on Jingji without restraint. If Jingji could still hold it at this time, then he was not a man. Shisheng found that Feng Xi had a habit in bed. He liked to bite her, especially on her neck, but not hard, just gently. Are you a dog? Shisheng touched his neck speechlessly. Jingji looked at her innocently. He did not know why he did this. It was just a subconscious action. Jingji hugged her from behind. Shishi. Will you regret it? Regret what? Jingji was silent for a moment. Regret being with me. Why would I regret it? Shisheng rolled his eyes speechlessly. I don't know. I'm scared. Jingji hugged Shisheng's hand tightly. His voice was trembling. Shishi, I'm scared. He did not know where this fear came from, but it was what he was feeling at this time. He was afraid that the gossip would hurt her in the future, and he was even more afraid that she would leave him. Shisheng suddenly felt a tingling in his heart. It was fleeting, very subtle, but very real. She was a little absent-minded. How long has it been since she had this feeling? It had been so long that she almost forgot. Shishi. Jingji's uneasy voice pulled Shisheng back to reality. She turned around and kissed him. A whisper overflowed from her mouth. I'm here always. ## today's dragon fruit flavored ticket # November 23rd. 2016 winning prize in book review area. Silent sleep, silent sheng. There are often activities in the book review area, everyone. Please come and touch the book review area. Love you all. Chapter 576. Jingji felt that since that night, Shisheng's state was a little strange. She was always absent-minded. When he asked her what was on her mind, she would just give him a brief answer. Shishi. Jingji walked to Shisheng's side. Before he could speak, the door was suddenly knocked open, and Zhu Feng rushed in. Young Master Jing, something happened. Jingji frowned slightly. What's the matter? Yin. Yin and Yi ran. Zhu Feng panted and pointed outside. Someone insisted that Yin is their son and now they want to take him away. Lead the way. Shisheng turned around expressionlessly and walked out of the door. Zhu Feng hurriedly led the way. Yin was in a market where people could freely exchange goods. A group of people surrounded the area, so that not even a drop of water could trickle through. On the way, Zhu Feng had already told Shisheng what happened. They were going out for a stroll today. Yin also wanted to go, so they brought him along. Who knew that they would meet a couple in the market? They stopped Yin and said that he was their son and daughter. Yin said that he didn't know them, and the couple started to quarrel. Shisheng squeezed into the crowd and saw the couple in dirty clothes at a glance. Although their faces were thin, he could still recognize that they were the people that Shisheng saw in the bakery album. Sister. Yin saw Shisheng coming over and immediately hid behind her. Who are you? Give my child back to me. The woman reached out and dragged Yin. This is my child. You human traffickers, give my child back to me. Shisheng protected Yin and took a step back. He looked at the woman coldly. Your child? His eyes were so cold that the woman couldn't help but feel guilty. But when she thought that this was her child, she didn't feel guilty. This is my child. His name is Yin and he was born on May 6, 2004. Her name is Yi Ran, and she was born on October 15, 2012. The woman shouted loudly, Give my child back to me. The onlookers immediately whispered to each other. I think this child looks a little similar to them. Could it really be her child? Well, he does look a little similar. Look at this child. He's dressed neatly, and he's also fair and chubby. He doesn't look like he's ever suffered. If my child is treated like this, I'd rather she be with someone else. Someone sighed. The man held the agitated woman and pleaded, Please return the child to us. Those are our children. Why are you begging them? The woman screamed. It's only right that we want our children back. Shisheng curled his lips into a half-smile. You left your children at home to save your own lives. Why didn't you consider that they were your children back then? The woman and the man froze. The crowd was in an uproar. Many people in the base had lived there since the establishment of the base, so they had brought their families here. They still had familial ties in their hearts, and they felt that it was shameful to abandon their children like this. The woman looked around. The crowd was pointing at her, and she couldn't find anything to say. The man's face was full of grief. We went out to look for food. We wanted to go back to pick them up after we found food, but we didn't expect to run into a flood. We couldn't go back to where we lived. We had no choice. Yin grabbed Shisheng's clothes and looked at his parents without saying a word. Yes, we had no choice. Anan, it's your mother. Come here. I'm here. The woman tried to squeeze out a smile. Anan, I'm here to take you and your sister home. Yin shrank behind Shisheng. He had begged them to take his sister away, but they had abandoned him in the end. Could he trust them now? No. He didn't trust them. His sister had said that people were habitual offenders. As long as they did something once, it would be easier for them to do it the second time. We're very grateful that you brought our children here, but you can't keep them. We are their parents. Children should grow up with their parents. Yin, are you willing to go with them? Shisheng looked down at Yin shook his head. Look, it's Yin who doesn't want to go with you. Shisheng spread his hands. The woman pointed at Shisheng and shouted, You must have said bad things about us to my son. Now my son doesn't recognize us. How can you be so vicious? You stole someone else's son. Give him back to me. When you abandoned my sister and me, we had nothing to do with each other. Yin's voice was very loud, and the crowd suddenly quieted down. If it weren't for my sister and I would have starved to death. You wouldn't have been able to see us at all. As a child, he didn't even have the ability to protect himself, let alone take care of a baby. There must be someone to protect him since he was able to come here alive. Yi En's body trembled slightly, and he couldn't stop his tears from flowing out. The man immediately bowed and said tearfully, "We know that you saved our son. We are really grateful to you, but we only have 2 children. Please give them back to us." The woman also seemed to have an epiphany. She knelt down with a plop, kowtowing and begging, "Please give us back our children. Please." "Captain Han, it's Captain Han." The crowd suddenly parted, and Han Yu came in with a few people. "What's going on?" Mu Xian stood beside Han Yu. Her eyes swept from Shisheng to Jingji for a moment, and finally fell on the couple. She said in surprise, "Brother Yi, Sister Yi, what are you doing?" The Yi couple was probably very familiar with Mu Xian. Father Yi whispered a few words to Mu Xian. "Since this child is Brother Ye's, Miss Jing, you should return him to Brother Yi." Mu Xian said righteously, "Children should be with their parents. You forcibly took away someone else's child. Aren't you breaking up their family? Be reasonable, female lead." Before Shisheng could speak, Mu Xian continued, "Miss Jing, if you return the child to Brother Yi, I will compensate you with supplies." She said it as if Shisheng didn't return the child because the Yi couple didn't give them anything. If Shisheng and his people were dressed sloppily and looked sallow and emaciated, the onlookers might believe it. However, they were dressed neatly and didn't seem to be short of supplies. Mu Xian's words had no effect. They raised their children so well. Would they be interested in the supplies you gave them? Shisheng thought seriously. "How many supplies can you give me? 1 car or 2? The onlookers. "Pfft, girl, your style is wrong. Shouldn't you be disdainful?" However, compared to disdain, this car of supplies was even more strange. People's lives were not worth much now. Who would exchange a cart full of supplies for 2 children? Chapter 577. Mu Xian choked for a moment. How could she say a whole car of supplies? "Miss Jing, give us a reasonable condition." Mu Xian frowned and said, "We are short of supplies now. It's impossible to give us a whole car of supplies." "Since you don't have any, then what's there to say?" Shisheng sneered. "You are threatening us with our children. Do you have any conscience?" The woman was irritated and jumped up. "Yes, I am threatening you. What can you do?" Shisheng admitted arrogantly. The woman was so angry that her face turned red. She glanced at Han Yu and suddenly began to howl. Captain Han, she is a human trafficker. Will you have to make a decision for us?" Han Yu. He didn't plan to come over just now. This kind of thing was handled by a professional, but Mu Xian insisted on coming. His wife asked him to look after Mu Xian, so he could only follow. In this situation, he couldn't say anything. Han Yu cleared his throat. "Since the children's parents are here, return the children to their parents." It was natural for children to follow their parents. "No." Yan hid behind Shisheng and refused. "I don't want to follow them." "You heard it. Yan chose himself. He doesn't want to follow you." Zhu Feng finally couldn't hold back. "If I had parents like you, I wouldn't want to follow you either." Captain Han said the children will follow us. Do you still want to rob them? The woman's voice was very sharp and piercing. "The children are mine. And then come here." The atmosphere suddenly became tense. "Why don't Captain Han exchange a car of supplies?" Shisheng suddenly said. "Han Yu. How many people can eat a car of supplies? How could he agree to exchange for 2 children? Mu Xian glared at Shisheng angrily. "Jingxi, how can you exchange children for supplies? How can you be so cruel?" When she said this, she looked at Jingji intentionally or unintentionally. However, Jingji didn't change his expression because of this sentence. What's wrong with being cruel? Shisheng didn't feel ashamed. The female lead wasn't cruel, but her relatives were all dead. So what if she avenged them? They were still dead. Han Yu stopped Mu Xian, who still wanted to say something. Mu Xian glared at Shisheng. Han Yu called the man to the side and said something. The man stopped making a fuss. Although the woman still wanted to make a fuss, she was dragged away by the man. Han Yu nodded slightly at Jingji and left with his people. Mu Xian looked at Jingji reluctantly, and left while looking back 3 times at every step. This farce came to an end just like that. Yian was not in a good mood after he went back. He was absent-minded even when he was eating. Sheng had his own things to think about, so he didn't have time to pay attention to him. But then, the two of them somehow found out where Yian lived. The Yi couple secretly went to find Yian. The two of them probably really didn't have a good life. At first, they even wanted to persuade Yian to go back with them. Later, she directly asked Yian for food. Yian had given it to him twice. After all, they were his parents who had given birth to him. After the Yi couple tasted the sweetness, they became even more ruthless. Yian was a little scared, so he didn't go out anymore. Even if he went out, there were people in the team accompanying him. Ah, I forgot to bring the crystal core. Zhu Feng went downstairs and realized that he didn't bring the crystal core. Little Yi, wait for me here. I'll go back and get it. Okay. Yian looked around and didn't see the Yi couple. He nodded obediently. However, not long after Zhu Feng went upstairs, 2 figures ran out from the corner. One of them covered Yi An's mouth, and the other lifted his leg. They quickly disappeared into the night. There was a street in the base called the Red Light District. Most of the people here were women who couldn't protect themselves. They sold their bodies in exchange for corresponding rewards, and lived a humble and difficult life. Before the apocalypse, there were legal restrictions. Some people could only hide their sexuality, but now there were no laws. These people didn't hide it anymore. Many girls were tortured to death. Among these girls, there were also boys. Especially young boys, they were very popular here. However, the Red Light District was particularly lively today. Screams could be heard from far away. The Yi couple just got a bag of crystal cores and came out happily. They didn't know the chaos on the street. They were a little confused. They looked at each other and held the crystal cores in their arms tightly. They were ready to leave. Not long after, they saw a girl carrying a sword and walking towards them with a murderous look. They were shocked and turned around to run at the same time. If they didn't run, Sheng wouldn't have noticed them. But as soon as they ran, Sheng saw them immediately. The two of them panicked and ran into a dead end. When they turned around and ran back, the intersection was already blocked. What do you want to do? Sheng approached them step by step. The faint light behind her made her figure blurry. A chill dispelled the stuffy air and penetrated into their skin. The Yi couple couldn't help but shiver. Where is Yian? Her voice seemed to come from hell. How do we know where Yian is? The woman's voice was trembling. This is the base. Don't mess around. Yes, this was the base. She didn't dare to kill anyone. She would be driven out if she killed anyone in the base. Ah! An extremely tragic cry rang out in the empty alley. The people who had just been frightened looked towards the alley, their faces full of lingering fear. Such a beautiful girl turned out to be so violent. Such a woman was really scary. Sheng came out of the alley and went straight to the small building that the Yi couple had come out of. The people in the small building heard that a lunatic had come to the Red Light District, so they closed the door after the Yi couple had left. What's going on outside? Where did this lunatic come from? Why hasn't the military sent anyone here? The manager of the small building paced back and forth and asked a series of questions. We are far from the military. If the military wants to come, it will take time, the person next to him answered. Boss, don't worry. We are safe here. Bang! Just as he said the word safe, the door in front of them was kicked away and smashed towards them. The cold light reflected from outside blinded the group of people. Many people were kicked to the ground before they could even react to what was going on. The manager scrambled upstairs. Sheng grabbed the handrail and flipped over. He caught up with the manager in a few steps. A fist-sized fireball shot out from the manager's hand and was hurled at Sheng. Sheng easily deflected it with her sword before grabbing the manager's collar and throwing him down the stairs. The whole process took less than a minute. Sheng went upstairs. The people scrambled to get up and ran outside. However, when they reached the door, they bumped into an invisible barrier and couldn't get out. Asterisk help. Help. Chapter 578. There were many rooms upstairs. Shisheng checked them one by one. There were people working in some of the rooms. When Shisheng barged in, many people were unhappy. But Shisheng still kicked in one by one. F***ck, which son of a bitch? The man on the bed looked at Shisheng. He was ready to fight when the door was kicked open. He was so scared that he went limp. The person on the bed suddenly pushed the man away. Ignoring her torn clothes, she stumbled toward Shisheng. She was a beautiful woman with curly hair. The torn clothes covered her body, making her look even more attractive. Shisheng remembered her. Han Yu's wife. In the novel, Han Yu's wife was raped to death. Help! The woman ran toward Shisheng. Her face was full of tears and her voice was choked. The man jumped off the bed, grabbed the woman's hair, and pulled her back. He threatened Shisheng. Mind your own business, stupid girl. Otherwise, I will do you too. Help me. The man pulled the woman's hair hard. Her scalp was tight, and the woman's face was distorted. She covered her head with one hand, and reached toward Shisheng with the other. Her face was full of despair. Help me. Get lost. The man scolded Shisheng. Shisheng turned to leave. Help me. Bitch, how dare you run away? The man slapped the woman's face and threw her onto the bed. The woman crawled toward the window in despair. The man grabbed her hair again and dragged her back. Just as the woman was in despair, her scalp loosened. The man's weight was on top of her without warning. The woman looked over the man's shoulder and saw the girl standing under the dim light. She pulled out her sword expressionlessly, turned around, and walked out of the room. The woman took a while to react. Dead. The man who wanted to violate her was dead. She pushed the man away with trembling hands and rolled to the ground. Her tears fell uncontrollably. She grabbed the bedsheet beside her and wrapped it around her body. Then she ran out of the room. She wanted to find a way out, but she ran in the wrong direction. She saw the girl bending down to pick up a child. She walked out of the room unhurriedly and headed downstairs without looking at her. The woman followed the Shisheng barefooted. It was chaos downstairs. Those with superpowers were using their superpowers to attack the door, but it was useless. They still couldn't get out. It was very strange. The sound of footsteps came from the direction of the stairs. The noisy scene suddenly quieted down, and all eyes looked in the direction of the stairs. As the sound got closer and closer, every sound seemed to be stepping on their hearts. Their bodies unconsciously retreated. Shisheng carried her downstairs. Under the horrified gaze of a group of people, he took off the talisman beside the door and walked out openly. They also saw the talisman, but no one could touch it. It was like a projection of nothingness. The military personnel were already waiting outside. They probably knew that they couldn't enter through the gate. Countless black muzzles were pointed at the Shisheng. Han Yu was dressed in a military uniform. He stood out among the group of people. Han Yu. A choked voice sounded behind the Shisheng. Han Yu's expression changed slightly. He looked toward the voice and rushed out of the crowd. Wei Wei. Zhao Weiwei threw herself into Han Yu's arms. As if she had found someone to rely on, she cried loudly. The red light district was protected by the higher-ups. That was why they dared to force women into prostitution and sell human beings. Because Zhao Weiwei was involved in it, Han Yu was furious. He cleaned up the red light district and successfully got more power in the base. Shisheng heard that Zhao Weiwei and Mu Xian had broken up, and Han Yu also broke off contact with Mu Xian. The specific reason was not clear, but it was conceivable that this matter must have something to do with Zhao Weiwei's arrest. Shisheng waited for Yian to wake up before taking him to see the Yi couple. Sister. Yian grabbed Shisheng's hand and wanted to retreat. It's your own business. Shisheng's tone was calm. I can help you kill them, but you have to make the decision. Go in. Yian took several deep breaths and pushed the door open. Isn't this too cruel? Zhu Feng couldn't bear it. Yian was still a child. He needs to grow up. The world now can't be saved by kindness and tolerance. Xia Shu answered on behalf of Shisheng. Jingji patted Shisheng's shoulder and comforted her silently. Shisheng's heart was calm. These things had nothing to do with her. Yian was still a child. He couldn't be so cruel and let the Yi couple go in the end. Shisheng secretly threw the two of them outside. This kind of scourge was troublesome to keep alive. Only Jingji knew what Shisheng did. Now even if the two of them slept together, Jingji would have a very vague feeling. He couldn't tell what it was, but it was very uncomfortable. Therefore Jingji would desperately torment Shisheng every time. It seemed that only by becoming one with her could he be sure that she was really by his side. When Han Yu came with Zhao Weiwei, Shisheng was teaching Yi Ran to call her sister. Yi Ran's childish voice was very pleasant to the ears. However, no matter how Shisheng corrected her, she only knew this word. Captain Han, please sit down. Zhu Feng welcomed them in. When he saw Shisheng on the sofa looking at him, he explained, Captain Han said that he was here to thank you, so I brought him in. Shisheng put Yi Ran aside and let her climb on the sofa by herself. This child is very cute. Zhao Weiwei also had a child. When she saw a child, she naturally had a good impression of her and sincerely praised her. What's the matter? Zhao Weiwei smiled slightly. She was not angry at Shisheng's indifference. Miss Jing saved me last time. I'm here to thank her. Shisheng leaned back slightly. Yi Ran climbed on top of her and touched her face. Shisheng grabbed her hand. Someone will be happy if you die. It just so happens that I don't like her. You don't have to thank me. Zhao Weiwei was speechless. You are too honest. Han Yu, I want to talk to Miss Jing alone. Can you go out and wait for me? Zhao Weiwei said coquettishly to Han Yu. Han Yu nodded slightly. He glanced at Shisheng and got up to go out. After everyone went out, Zhao Weiwei said, Miss Jing, are you talking about Mu Xian? If you think so, then so be it. Why did this girl not follow the rules? Anyway, I'm very grateful to you. She knew that if she had not found someone and caused a mess in the red light district, Han Yu would not have gone there. Shisheng looked at her calmly and did not answer. Yi Ran scratched Shisheng with both hands. She may be hungry. Zhao Weiwei reminded him. Shisheng's face suddenly showed a look of disdain. Eat, all you know is to eat. Although he was disdainful, Shisheng still got up to make milk for Yi Ran. You can't make milk so strong. Let me help you. Zhao Weiwei could not stand it anymore. Chapter 579. When Zhao Weiwei came out, she was holding 2 cans of milk powder with a confused expression. Han Yu stood outside waiting for her. There was a man standing next to him. He was wearing a clean white shirt and looked very good looking. When Jingji saw her coming out, he pushed the door open and went in, disappearing from her sight in a blink of an eye. Han Yu, this Jingji is so strange. Zhao Weiwei said hesitantly. Han Yu looked at the milk powder in her hand. Isn't it strange? They came to thank her, but when they left, they still took the milk powder. In fact, there was not much milk powder in the base. It was given to them by Mu Xian before. Now that they broke up with Mu Xian, they were short of milk powder. Thinking of Mu Xian, Han Yu's face sank. Let's go back. Zhao Weiwei looked at the closed door and left with Han Yu. After that, Han Yu sent 4 bags of rice to exchange for milk powder. Jingji arranged for people to go out and find a place to build a base. They had weapons, and now they only needed to recruit people. Xiaoshu's space couldn't hold so many weapons, so Shisheng threw them a space ring. As soon as these people left, there was only one person left in the team. Originally, Zhu Feng wanted to follow, but was rejected by Xiaoshu. It was said that Mu Xian joined a mercenary team and sold things from her supermarket. Because the things she sold were difficult to get now, the mercenary team went from being unknown to being very famous now. Even the military was afraid of them. What the military lacked most now was medicine and water. The weather was hot, and the water ability users in the base were almost drained every day. Even if there was an endless supply of crystal nuclei for them to recover, water was not enough. Although Mu Xian didn't sell water, she had fruits with plenty of water. Since they could fill the stomach and quench thirst, and the price was not expensive, there were naturally people who would buy them. The medicine Mu Xian sold was relatively common, and the price was a bit expensive, but compared to going to dangerous places to get medicine, it was definitely much more cost-effective to buy it from her. But there was also a drawback, that was some people coveted it, even the mercenary team. Mu Xian was still betrayed. This time, the original owner didn't take the blame for the female lead, but a girl from the mercenary team took the blame. After this incident, the female lead didn't dare to sell things casually, and was quiet for a while. The capital base sent a helicopter to pick up Jingji and Jingxi 2 months later. The person who came was Old Master Jing's most trusted person. The original owner had seen him before, and they all called him Uncle Wu. Rumor had it that he was a special forces soldier. Later on he was injured and retired. Since then he had been following Old Master Jing. Not only was Uncle Wu there to pick them up, but he was also there to deliver important information and meet the researchers. That was why Uncle Wu met them after the handover with the military. Uncle Wu. Jingji greeted him respectfully. Good lad, you've protected your sister so well. Not bad. Uncle Wu punched Jingji in the chest and rubbed Shisheng's head. Little girl, you don't even call me uncle when you see me. With his messy hair, Shisheng called out gloomily, Uncle Wu. Jingji tidied her up and got up to pour tea for Uncle Wu. Uncle Wu looked at Shisheng strangely. Before he could think about it, he heard Jingji ask, Is Grandpa okay? The old man's health has always been poor. Uncle Wu shook off the strange thought just now, and his face became solemn. Now all the heavy burden is on the old man. He was relieved when he heard the news that you were all safe, but it took him so long to arrange for me to pick you up. Uncle Wu took a sip of tea. We have to leave tomorrow. Pack up everything tonight and leave early in the morning. So soon? Uncle Wu smiled bitterly. You should know that there are zombie animals outside now. We didn't find any zombie animals in the air before, but a few days ago, a helicopter was attacked by zombie birds during a mission. The helicopter was useless when zombie birds appeared in the air. If it weren't for this discovery, I might have to postpone picking you up for a while. There were still major discoveries in the capital base. This time he came to pick them up, and also to ask for virus and genetic researchers for the Yaoguang base. Uncle Wu left after a while. He still had things to do. He told them to gather at the base's airport early in the morning. They didn't have many things to pack, only Yi Ran's things were more. Sister, where are we going? Yian asked Shisheng while stuffing clothes into his backpack. The capital base. Oh. Yian zipped up his backpack. Sister, will the world return to its original state? So what if it returns? Shisheng's mouth had a trace of coldness. A large number of human beings died, and civilization was destroyed. If you want to return to the world you imagined, you'll have to live in this lifetime. Yian. Sister, is it difficult for you to comfort me? I won't lie to you with pleasant words. I'm too lazy to make one up. Shisheng seemed to know what Yian was thinking and said faintly, Too lazy to make one up. I'm speechless with this reason. Just when the two of them were staring at each other, an alarm suddenly sounded outside. It was a level 1 alarm. Sister, a lot of zombies are rushing towards the base. Yian subconsciously used his superpower. Zombies attacking the base? Yaoguang base only had one zombie attack, and that was the time when Jingji attracted the zombies. So this plot still happened. Cici. Jingji directly opened the door. Yian repeated what he just said to Jingji. Xiaoshu and Zhu Feng also came in at this time. When they heard Yian's words, they were stunned. Zombies attacking the base? Yaoguang base's defense is good. There should be no problem, right? Zhu Feng said. There were so many people in Yaoguang base, and they were building and reinforcing the city walls every day. Xiaoshu looked at Yian. Can you see how many zombies there are? Yian tried hard to look into the distance. The night quickly receded in his eyes, like a lens, magnifying the scene in the distance. Many. I can't see the end. Yian's expression suddenly changed. Ah! He screamed, covered his head, and knelt on the ground. It hurts, little Yi. Zhu Feng helped Yian up. What's wrong? You overused your superpower? It hurts. Yian pulled his hair for a while, and then hit his head hard. Shisheng went up and knocked Yian out with a karate chop. Zhu Feng. How can you treat a child like this? It's a spiritual type zombie. He will only suffer more when he's awake. Shisheng rarely explained. Spiritual type or zombie? They all knew that the spiritual type was a legendary superpower that attacked with one's mind. This kind of superpower was very rare. Shisheng did not give them time to digest and continued. This place is going to fall. Go find Uncle Wu and leave this place. Fall? How do you know? Zhu Feng was shocked. Can you really predict? I know that you will die. Zhu Feng was stunned and asked, how will I die? Shisheng picked up Yian's bag and pulled Jingji out. You talk too much. Zhu Feng. Why does it feel like she despises me? Chapter 580. The news of the zombie attack spread throughout the base in an instant. This was not a peaceful era. It was a matter of everyone's life and death. It was impossible to hide it. The base broadcast constantly called for people to go to the base wall to defend against the zombies. When Shisheng and the others left, the entire base was in chaos. Previously, Uncle Wu had told them where he would be resting, but when they went to look for him, they were told that Uncle Wu had already gone to the city walls with his men. Take them to the airport. I'll go find Uncle Wu. Shisheng stuffed his bag to Jingji. I'll go. Jingji pulled her. You go to the airport first. I'm faster than you. Shisheng took out his iron sword. Trust me. Jingji couldn't persuade Shisheng. He could only take them to the airport first. Shisheng flew directly to the city wall from the sky. It wasn't difficult to find the higher-ups. She just had to look at the most crowded places. Now anyone could go up the city wall. No one would notice if Shisheng went up. She squeezed into the crowd and slowly approached Uncle Wu. While the person beside Uncle Wu was talking to another person, she dragged Uncle Wu into the crowd. Xiaoxi, why are you here? Uncle Wu looked at the girl who dragged him in surprise, then scolded her with a straight face. Go back, this is not a place you can come. We have to leave tonight. No, there are so many zombies now. I have to stay and help. Uncle Wu refused without thinking. Shisheng didn't beat around the bush and said directly, Uncle Wu, Yaoguang base can't be saved. It's useless for you to stay. It's not too late to escort those researchers. Uncle Wu was even more surprised. How did she know that Yaoguang base couldn't be saved? Shisheng dragged him down the city wall. Uncle Wu, don't forget what your mission is. Yes, his mission was to pick up Xiaoxi and Xiaoji and escort those researchers to the capital base. Uncle Wu was dizzy and was dragged to the airport by Shisheng. Because they didn't have a pass, Jingji and the others could only wait outside the airport. When they were outside the airport, Uncle Wu reacted. I'm going to pick up those researchers. He took out a few passes from his military bag. You guys go in first. Tell them to prepare for takeoff. I'll come after I pick them up. This group of researchers were all in the laboratory, and the laboratory was some distance away from the airport. At this time, there were a lot of people in various areas, and Uncle Wu was gone for an hour. The zombies outside had already begun to attack the city, and their roars were deafening. When Han Yu escorted Zhao Weiwei in, he happened to see a group of people standing under the helicopter. The man in white was particularly eye-catching. Han Yu, can we really not hold on? Zhao Weiwei hugged the child, her face full of panic. She spoke incoherently. Will you be okay? Since you can't hold on, come with me. Han Yu held her hand. Protect yourself and the child. I'll go to the capital to look for you. Be good. Han Yu. Han Yu hugged Zhao Weiwei and led her to the Shisheng. There were people from the capital base coming to pick up the Jing siblings. These people with a bit of status all knew that he was really worried about letting Zhao Weiwei go on the road alone. If he could go back with these people, it would be best. Han Yu walked in front of Shisheng. Mr. Jing, Miss Jing, can I trouble you with something? No trouble. Shisheng rejected very quickly. Han Yu. He took a deep breath. For the sake of the child, can Miss Jing send my wife and child back to the capital base? His face was not as useful as a child in front of her. The child opened his big eyes and looked around. He didn't know what he saw, but he actually giggled. He had no idea what was about to happen. Yi Ran suddenly grabbed Shisheng's hair and nibbled on Shisheng's face. It's useless even if I agree. This is Uncle Wu's team. Shisheng turned around with Yi Ran in his arms. Han Yu patted Zhao Weiwei's shoulder. She had given in. As long as he could convince Uncle Wu, he could let Weiwei go back to the capital base with them. Uncle Wu's team had also suffered some losses on the way. At this time, there were only 2 helicopters. It was definitely more than enough to carry people. The key was that they still had to carry the data and equipment of the researchers. One more person was not a big deal, but Han Yu had also sent people to protect Zhao Weiwei. They definitely couldn't sit down. Captain Han, as you can see, these things can't be left behind. I can only take Miss Zhao and the child with me. If you're worried, you can also ask someone to take Miss Zhao and follow us in the helicopter. I'll try my best to take care of her. Han Yu, I can do it alone. I'll feel more at ease if they stay with you. Zhao Weiwei calmed down and took the initiative to speak. Don't make me worry. Han Yu's gaze pierced through the crowd and landed on Shisheng, who was playing with the child. He didn't know why, but he had a feeling that as long as this woman was around, all the problems would not be a problem. After a while he retracted his gaze. Okay. After settling Zhao Weiwei down, Han Yu said to Uncle Wu solemnly, "The Han family will thank you greatly." Uncle Wu waved his hand. The Han family had power in the capital, but now, the situation in the capital base was not good. It was hard to say what the situation would be like in the future. Han Yu. Zhao Weiwei's eyes were filled with tears, but she pretended to be strong and called him. You must live. Wait for me. Han Yu's straight back gradually faded away. Uncle Wu made sure that everyone was there, and let the helicopter take off. The helicopter slowly lifted off, and the base below became smaller and smaller. Just as the helicopter rose to 500 meters, there was a sudden loud noise. The entire fuselage shook, and a sense of weightlessness hit them instantly. The faces of the people on the helicopter all changed. They grabbed their seat belts and didn't dare to breathe. Jingji subconsciously held Shisheng's hand. Shisheng calmly squeezed his hand. As long as the person flying the helicopter is not a novice, we won't fall. Her voice was not loud, but at this time, it was very clear. Sure enough, the helicopter was quickly pulled up. The pilot's frightened voice came from Uncle Wu's walkie-talkie. I don't know what we hit, but we're fine. Jingji remembered that when they were waiting for Uncle Wu, she hugged Yi Ran and circled around the 2 helicopters. He thought she was coaxing the child. Cici, aren't you tired? Jingji was helpless. She thought about everything and felt that they were useless. Shisheng tilted his head and said with a serious face, abandoning all danger is the first rule of survival. Jingji looked at Shisheng helplessly. Does she know that sometimes she can also rely on him? As the helicopter rose, there was a constant banging sound. It was very dark outside, and they couldn't see what was hitting them. Sometimes, the invisible danger made people panic even more. The helicopter swayed in the air. Fortunately, the pilot was a veteran for decades and didn't panic. After confirming that the helicopter was normal, he quickly drove out of the base. The helicopter flew over the heads of countless zombies. The densely packed zombies were like ants, constantly surging forward. Chapter 581. The helicopter returned from Yaoguang base even more smoothly and safely than when they came. Uncle Wu was still in a daze when he saw the capital base. Nothing had happened along the way. It was amazing. Uncle Wu got off the helicopter and immediately circled it a few times, but he found nothing. It was really strange. There were special people in charge of the researchers. Uncle Wu took Shisheng and Jingji to see Old Master Jing. Uncle Wu also informed the Han family to send someone to pick up Zhao Weiwei. Old Master Jing was about 60 years old with a head full of silver hair. Probably because he was in a high position, his face was always tense. Even when he saw his grandson and granddaughter, he only showed a very official smile. The meeting was very short. Uncle Wu had to report to Old Master Jing about the Yaoguang base. A base had fallen, and it was the largest base now. This matter was extremely important. Therefore, Jingji and Shisheng were arranged to stay in Old Master Jing's villa. It was already midnight when Old Master Jing came back. Seeing Jingji sitting on the sofa waiting for him, he couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Xiaoji, why aren't you asleep? We'll talk about it tomorrow. Go and rest first. Jingji looked at old Master Jing's tired face and nodded slightly. I'll send Grandpa up. After sending old Master Jing back to his room, Jingji went downstairs to his room. He hesitated at the door for a moment, then turned and went to the room next door. Shisheng was lying with his back facing her. His breathing was steady, and he was probably asleep. Jingji hugged her from behind. Shisheng habitually turned over and shrank into Jingji's arms. The corner of Jingji's mouth outlined a gentle arc. He planted a kiss on her forehead and hugged her to sleep. The next day, Shisheng woke up first. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw a magnified handsome face. She looked at this face and was a little stunned. Shisheng only blinked when she felt the wet heat on her lips. Jingji closed his eyes slightly and kissed her gently. After the kiss, both of them were a little heavy. Get up. Jingji first let go of Shisheng, got up and walked out of the door. What do you want to eat? I'll get it for you. Jingji's voice stopped abruptly. Outside the door, old Master Jing stared at him with a bad expression. He glanced into the room. Shisheng was sitting on the bed. His face was flushed and his clothes were messy. Grandpa, follow me to the study. Old Master Jing turned and left. Jingji took a deep breath. He had to tell his grandpa about this sooner or later. Jingji, do you want me to do it? Shisheng stopped Jingji. Jingji turned around and smiled. Shishi, let me handle this. Jingji talked with old Master Jing in the study for more than an hour. Old Master Jing didn't allow them to be together and was furious. He kept Jingji by his side to work. In his spare time, he would introduce girls to Jingji or boys to Shisheng. In any case, he did not agree with them being together. Both sides were in a deadlock. Shisheng wanted to talk to old Master Jing, but Jingji stopped her. Old Master Jing was a very stubborn person. It was difficult to change his mind. He was afraid that if she went to talk to old Master Jing might say something unpleasant and hurt her. Now Shisheng wanted to see Jingji. Every day, Jingji would sneak into her room through the window. After old Master Jing found out, he directly took Jingji to live in the administrative building. He didn't even return to the villa. Shisheng went to the administrative building under the hot sun. Looking for young Master Jing? Xiaoshu appeared beside Shisheng like a ghost. Xiaoshu and Zhufeng lived in other places with Yin and his sister, but Xiaoshu and Zhufeng still worked for Jingji. Shisheng pouted and blew. Is he here? Young Master Jing and old Master Jing went out. Xiaoshu answered and turned to Zhufeng. You go up first. Zhufeng was unhappy. Why? It's hot outside. Xiaoshu said expressionlessly. Zhufeng suddenly blushed and walked to the administrative building with his head down. After Zhufeng left, Xiaoshu took Shisheng to a cooler place and conveyed Jingji's words. Young Master Jing is going to leave the base. He wants you to be prepared. Where are you going? Jingji couldn't persuade old Master Jing, and was going to escape? Xiaoshu looked at Shisheng and suddenly cleared his throat. He imitated Jingji's tone. As long as I'm with her, it's the same wherever I go. Shisheng. I don't like it here either. It's good to leave. Xiaoshu looked in the direction of the administrative building. The atmosphere in the building made him very uncomfortable. It was better to kill zombies outside. After negotiating with Xiaoshu, Shisheng walked back. Young Master Jing is so handsome. His superpower is so powerful. Is young Master Jing gay? Do I have a chance? Come on. With your appearance, even if young Master Jing is gay, he won't like you. At least he has to be like me. Young Master Jing. Shisheng walked along and heard the most about young Master Jing. He didn't come back for long. With his appearance and strength, he was quickly recognized by both men and women. Shisheng was thinking about something and unknowingly walked to a street with fewer pedestrians. Shisheng looked up and looked at the street sign. When he was about to go back, he suddenly saw a shop. There was nothing in the shop. Most importantly, there were a few familiar figures in the shop. Jingji was already very impatient, but old Master Jing and Mu Xian were talking very happily. When he looked up, he suddenly swept a glance at the people standing across the street. His face changed slightly. Grandpa, I'll go back first. Jingji didn't wait for Old Master Jing's response and strode out of the shop. Old Master Jing was so angry that his beard blew and his eyes glared, but Mu Xian calmed him down with a few words. Jingji pulled Shisheng to a shady place with fewer people. Shishi, why are you here? Jingji lovingly helped her tidy her hair. I miss you. Shisheng smiled slightly. Don't you miss me? Jingji looked around and saw that there was no one around. He lowered his head and kissed her lips, directly expressing his longing for Shisheng with his actions. Jingji let go of Shisheng after a while. We will leave the base after a while. Yes, Xiaoshu told me. The outside world was dangerous, but he could protect her. Jingji sent Shisheng back. Along the way, they met a lot of people who were curious about the girl Jingji was holding. Later, someone said that it was Jingji's sister, and the excited crowd calmed down. If it was his sister, they still had a chance. Why is Mu Xian here? Ooh, Shisheng suddenly said. Jingji was completely confused. Oh. Please remember the name of the female lead. She can only be a villain. The woman in the shop just now. I don't know. He didn't care about other women. Why should he know why she was there? Asterisk Jingji. I only have you in my heart, not her. Shisheng, are you crazy? Jingji confess. Shisheng, where are the flowers? Where is the diamond ring? Where is the candlelight dinner? Jingji, am I not enough here? Shisheng. Chapter 582. It had been more than a month since the fall of Yaoguang base. Mu Xian came here with the mercenary team. She directly connected with Old Master Jing and opened a shop in the name of the government. Shisheng didn't know how she connected with him. Anyway, the female lead always had a few old grandpas who liked her. Because of Jingji, Old Master Jing was now more and more displeased with her. The amiable old man seemed to have disappeared because of this incident. Old Master Jing put all the blame on Shisheng. He often mentioned Mu Xian when he didn't like her. In the end, he even brought Mu Xian back to the villa. Xiaoshi Mu Xian will live here from now on. You have to get along well with her, okay? Don't think about nonsense all day. As soon as Shisheng came downstairs, Old Master Jing pointed at Mu Xian who was sitting on his right side. Miss Jing. Mu Xian stood beside Old Master Jing and called out obediently. Mu Xian is calling you. Why are you so rude? Old Master Jing began to roar again. He expected better from her. Look at you now. Grandpa Jing, don't be angry. I had some misunderstandings with Miss Jing before. I believe it will be fine after I explain it to Miss Jing. Mu Xian supported Old Master Jing and comforted him softly. Shisheng sat down calmly and looked at Mu Xian. What misunderstandings? Mu Xian thought that Shisheng would make a scene, but she said it so calmly that Mu Xian was at a loss for words. Let's eat, Mu Xian. Don't mind her. Old Master Jing probably saw Mu Xian's awkwardness, but he still helped Mu Xian. Shisheng shook his head and began to eat. No one could interfere with her eating. Mu Xian and Old Man Jing were not talking about trivial matters, but rather, they were talking about important national affairs. Old Master Jing obviously liked Mu Xian more and more. During the meal, the two of them chattered nonstop. Shisheng wished she could smash the bowl in their faces. Can't they just eat in peace? After the meal, Old Master Jing took Mu Xian to see her room before leaving. Before leaving, he didn't forget to warn Shisheng. Mu Xian's room was next to Jingji's, and Shisheng's room was opposite Jingji's. It was obvious Old Master Jing's intention for this arrangement. At night, Old Master Jing brought Jingji back. Jingji thought that Old Master Jing had figured it out, but his face darkened when he saw a strange woman in the villa. Nothing happened between Mu Xian and Hanyu. At this time, she still liked Jingji. Mu Xian could not help but feel nervous when she saw the person she had a crush on. In the end, Jingji did not even look at her, and went straight upstairs. Shisheng was waving his sword in the room. Jingji went in, and was almost cut by the sword. Shishi, are you going to murder your husband? Jingji leaned against the wall and patted his chest exaggeratedly. Shisheng sheathed his sword. Why are you back? Jingji walked up to the Shisheng, his eyes filled with tenderness. I miss you. Shisheng blinked and pouted. Kiss kiss. Jingji laughed, his big hand held the back of her head and kissed her. Just as the two of them were deeply in love, someone suddenly knocked on the door. Jingji sighed and lay on Shisheng's body, unwilling to move. Let's get out of here quickly. It doesn't matter to me. Shisheng shrugged. Jingji, get your ass out here. Old Master Jing roared angrily. Jingji turned over and got out of bed. He pulled the wrinkled clothes on his body, and went to open the door without buttoning the buttons that were torn open by Shisheng. Old Master Jing saw him like this and was so angry that his face turned green. You are really pissing me off. Grandpa, I said that I only want Shishi, regardless of whether you agree or not. Jingji's attitude was very tough. She is your sister. Old Master Jing raised his hand to slap Jingji, but in the end he did not. Grandpa, I have done a paternity test. Shishi and I are not related by blood. Of course Jingji did not do it. Old Master Jing suddenly became silent. After a while he said angrily, even if you are not related by blood, you can't be together. What will the outsiders think of our Jing family? Where will I put my old face? You still have me in your eyes, so don't do this kind of thing. And you Jingshi, do you want to anger me to death? Old Master Jing pushed the door open and pointed at Shisheng. Shisheng did not answer, and just pretended that he did not hear anything. This kind of thing was difficult to understand. It was useless for her to explain, so she might as well save her energy. Grandpa, I will not be separated from Shishi. You. Old Master Jing covered his chest and gasped for breath. His eyes swept back and forth between Jingji and Shisheng. Finally, he turned around and left with a cold snort. Jingji closed the door and looked at Shisheng. He said slowly, I will arrange it as soon as possible. I will not let you be wronged. I don't feel wronged. Shisheng hooked his finger at Jingji. Jingji walked over and Shisheng hugged his neck. I have to face this kind of thing when I am with you. I am already prepared. Jingji held her waist and felt helpless. Yes, she was prepared for everything, but he still felt distressed. He felt distressed that she had to bear everything by herself. The rumors came out suddenly. It seemed that overnight, the whole base knew that old Master Jing's grandson and granddaughter had an improper relationship. In addition, someone saw them holding hands before, which undoubtedly confirmed the rumor. Everyone could not help but look at the Jing family strangely. No matter what era it was, there was no shortage of gossipers. In the end, the rumor became that Shisheng was shameless and seduced her brother. The target of scolding and despising became Shisheng. Shisheng would encounter people looking for trouble on the street, just like now. It's her. She is shameless and seduced her brother. Stop her. Shisheng's path was blocked, and several girls took turns to scold him. Shisheng replied calmly. Why didn't she seduce such a handsome brother? Bah, you shameless b*tch. Rabbits don't eat the grass near their burrows. You won't even let your brother go. You are crazy. Rabbits don't eat the grass near their burrows because they will be exposed if they eat the grass near their burrows. The girls were speechless. What kind of saying was that? Why are you talking nonsense with her? Let's teach her a lesson. Let's see if she dares to seduce young Master Jing again. The girls rolled up their sleeves and were ready to teach Shisheng a lesson. Shisheng had a bad temper. He took out his iron sword and killed these girls. It's none of your business who I am with. Shisheng folded the girls. His tone was calm, but there was a hint of sarcasm in it. Are you my mother or my ancestors? Obviously, I don't have such a young mother. Since you are not related to me, don't think that you are a righteous messenger who will get rid of evil for the people. Those who meddle in other people's business will die miserably. Be careful. The girls who were folded into a small mountain were speechless. Why did he fold them? If I were you, I would do whoever I like. If I can't, I would drug her. In this world, you don't have to go to jail. The girls were speechless. What a dangerous way of thinking. Chapter 583. Rumors were everywhere, and the relationship between Jingji and old Master Jing was getting worse and worse. Every time Jing Ji and Old Master Jing had a fight, Mu Xian would be the one to calm them down. It seemed that as long as he saw Mu Xian, Old Master Jing's anger would calm down. Author's Malice X1 Female Leads Healing Aura X, and under the Female Leads Healing Aura, Old Master Jing actually let Jing Ji and Mu Xian get married. Yes, there was no engagement, they got married directly. Shisheng could not hold it in anymore, and rushed directly to Old Master Jing's study. "Grandpa, you really know how to joke. I'm not that good." Mu Xian was talking shyly. Seeing Shisheng rushing in, she quickly lowered her head. "You're getting more and more unruly." Old Master Jing was getting more and more annoyed with Shisheng and scolded him with a sullen face. Shisheng looked at Mu Xian and did not speak. Mu Xian mumbled, "Grandpa, I'll go out first." Old Master Jing did not object. Mu Xian quickly got up and left the study. "I didn't say anything because Jing Ji said he could handle this matter." Shisheng's words were very rude. "But now it seems that I have to say something. You and Jing Ji shouldn't be together." Old Master Jing's face was sullen. "Do you know what the people outside are saying about you too?" He was already so old, and now he was being criticized behind his back. "Jing Ji and I are not related by blood. Why can't we be together? You two are siblings. You have lived together for so long. The relationship between you two is kinship, not love." Old Master Jing's attitude was tough. "Jing Ji and Mu Xian's marriage has been decided. If you don't want to be kicked out of the house, don't make trouble. After your brother's wedding, I'll find another family for you." "Does Jing Ji agree? *CKU, do you think I'm worthy of being with a retard? It doesn't matter whether he agrees or not. As long as he's my grandson, he has to listen to me." Shisheng could not help but roll his eyes. If it were not for him, he would have chopped Jing Ji with his sword. Jing Ji said that Old Master Jing was stubborn, and it seemed that he was right. Shisheng was afraid that he could not hold back his anger, and really chopped Old Master Jing's head, so he left the study. Mu Xian stood outside the door with a smile on her face. It was a proud smile. "Idiot." Shisheng strode past her. Mu Xian's smile froze on her face. What did she mean? The next day, Shisheng and Jing Ji disappeared at the same time. Old Master Jing sent people to search the entire base, but they couldn't find them. Xia Shu and the others also disappeared. The records of the base did not contain any information about them entering or leaving the base. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air. Shisheng took them away by air. Of course, these people didn't know that. "Cece, thank you." "For what?" Shisheng looked at Jing Ji as if he was an idiot. "You didn't do anything to Grandpa." She had a bad temper, but this time, she endured it and didn't do anything. "Don't flatter yourself. It has nothing to do with you." Shisheng couldn't help rolling her eyes. She was telling the truth. She had her own reasons for not doing anything, and it definitely had nothing to do with Jing Ji. She even dared to chop the Emperor Eye. Would she care if Old Master Jing was Jing Ji's grandfather? Jing Ji was depressed. "Can't you just coax me?" "No, there's no point in lying to you." Jing Ji. So honest, but he liked it. After leaving the base, Jing Ji found the people from before. They had built a small base. Because they had enough weapons, they had stockpiled a lot of food. Shisheng calculated the time and asked them to prepare for the winter. They had heard about it from Shisheng before, so they were not surprised by the request and started to prepare. When they were almost ready, the hot weather suddenly cooled down, and snow fell without warning. There were not many people in their base, but they had enough food. There was no problem for them to survive the 5 months of winter. After the winter, various natural disasters continued to happen. Zombies and mutated animals became more and more ferocious, and the living environment for humans became worse and worse. The situation in the capital base was not very good, but it was lucky to have the female lead as a pillar to support it. Since the winter, the female lead's supermarket was exposed. But with Old Master Jing's suppression, no one dared to have any ideas about Mu Xian. However, many people relied on the female lead. Many people were unwilling to go out again. Since there was such a good supermarket, why would they go out to die? The female lead was unwilling to use the supermarket to help the people. Those who opposed Old Master Jing immediately spread rumors about the female lead, saying that she wanted to control the entire base. In any case, it was a conspiracy theory, forcing her to take out the supermarket. As the weather became colder and colder, a large number of people in the base died. As the decision-maker, Old Master Jing naturally could not watch a large number of people die. So when the people on the other side prepared to put the female lead under house arrest, they did not raise any objections. The female lead probably did not expect such an ending. She was alone and weak, and had lost the initiative from the beginning. If she did not want to get close to Old Master Jing to get close to Jing Ji, she would not have shown her cards so quickly. After the winter, Old Master Jing suddenly fell ill. His illness was so severe that he was sent to the hospital with a notice of critical illness. When Jing Ji received the news, Old Master Jing had already passed away. As his grandson, Jing Ji still brought Shisheng back to the capital base. Why are there so many zombies? Zhu Feng looked at the zombies that surrounded the capital base in front of them with a face full of surprise. The news that came back before did not say that there were zombies surrounding the city. Shisheng leaned on the car seat. His eyes fell on the group of zombies in the distance. In the next second, he turned his head abruptly to look behind the car. His movement was too big, and Jing Ji looked over with concern. "Cici, what's wrong?" Shisheng frowned. "Nothing." Was it an illusion? She just felt that something was watching them, just like when they were in the small village. These zombies seemed to be organized. The analysis Emperor Xiaoshu came online. The zombies at the back are almost motionless. The zombies at the front are leading the charge, and the ordinary zombies are responsible for climbing the city wall. Xiaoshu scanned through the group of zombies with his binoculars and finally stopped at a certain spot. "Young Master Jing, look at that zombie." Jing Ji held the binoculars and looked in the direction Xiaoshu pointed. In the middle of the group of zombies, there was a handsome young man sitting on a temporary mound. He wore a tuxedo and was as elegant as a royal aristocrat from the Middle Ages. "It's a zombie emperor." Shisheng held his chin and casually explained the setting. It regains the appearance and memory of a human. But compared to a superpowered person, a zombie emperor is a new human who has successfully evolved. It has a longer life and stronger strength. This zombie emperor appeared too early. They were already very calm when Shisheng casually mentioned all kinds of new terms and various kinds of scientific knowledge. "Does that human have a way to survive?" Zhu Feng murmured. Little fairy. "Do you have tickets today?" Cherub. "Do you want tickets?" Little fairy. "Yes." Nodding wildly. Cherub. "Praise us." Little fairy. "Graceful and elegant, light and unrestrained, tasting the peerless beauty, and relying on the charm of a city." Cherub. "I'll give you one more chance." Little fairy. "You guys are so beautiful." Chapter 584. The capital base was in chaos. When Old Master Jing was around, no one dared to make a move. But now that Old Master Jing was not around, everyone wanted to dominate the base. Now that the zombies were attacking the city, these people were still arguing. In the end, when the zombies were about to attack, they stopped arguing and hurriedly sent reinforcements to the city wall. Ordinary zombies did not have high combat power, but there were too many of them. With the zombies piling up, they climbed up the city wall. The scene was tragic and shocking. Superpowered zombies were much more powerful than their superpowered users. "We can't hold it anymore." A soldier was almost crying as he retreated. Someone behind him held his shoulder and said firmly, "We have to hold it even if we can't. Our loved ones are behind us." Yes. The soldier mustered up his courage and rushed towards the zombies with his weapon. Fresh blood and zombie blood blurred the soldier's vision. He could only rely on his instinct to activate his superpower and kill the zombies. His comrades fell one by one. The city wall was almost filled with zombies. Just when he was in despair, there was a violent explosion in front of him. Countless zombies were blown up into the sky. Dust filled the air like fog. "There's someone in the sky." The person next to the soldier suddenly shouted and pointed at the dark sky. The soldier looked up and saw a huge iron sword floating in the air. He could vaguely see someone standing on it. Someone was coming. Was it a god? Poochie. Before the soldier could smile, he suddenly froze. He slowly looked down and saw a rotten hand slowly pulling out from his abdomen. The next second, he felt a pain in his neck and completely lost consciousness. In the air, Shisheng looked at Zhu Feng throwing bombs and commented casually, "This thing is useless. The area is too small, and it can easily create dust." These bombs were taken back from the military base. Xiaxu kept some in her storage space. Zhu Feng was throwing these bombs now. It's easy for you to say that. Zhu Feng was still throwing the bombs quickly. The sound of explosions continued below. It was already good enough to kill so many zombies. Those superpowered zombies definitely could not be killed by the bombs. Shisheng silently took out an energy ball. "Watch me show off." "Zhu Feng. Let me tell you, acting cool will get you struck by lightning." Shisheng tossed the energy ball towards the area with the most zombies. With just one ball, the zombies were blasted to smithereens. The surrounding zombies fell into the pit and were struck by the lightning. Although they weren't blasted to smithereens, they were still unable to move. Pure natural and pollution-free. Shisheng had given them this kind of energy ball before, but they didn't have the chance to use it. Later on, Shisheng took it back. Now that he thought about it, they were lucky that they didn't blow up this thing back then. With such a dangerous thing on their bodies, they were afraid. When Shisheng's energy ball hit the ground, the zombies seemed to have received some kind of command and started to retreat. A large wave of zombies retreated like a tide and soon disappeared from everyone's sight. The zombies retreated. The survivors didn't react for a long time. Shisheng stared at the direction where the zombies had disappeared for a while, and then controlled the iron sword to land in the base thoughtfully. "This looks like young Master Jing?" Jing Ji was such a handsome person, and he was also old Master Jing's grandson. Of course, he left a deep impression on people. A group of people discussed in a low voice. Some of them were glad that they had survived the disaster. Some were grateful to Jing Ji, and naturally, some were against the improper relationship between Jing Ji and Shisheng. Young Master Jing and Miss Jing look like a good match. It's so pleasing to the eyes when they stand together. Seeing such a good-looking person after seeing zombies all day is like eating a big plate of meat. They actually came back. I really don't understand. Both of them are so good-looking. Why would they be together? If it weren't for them, we would be dead now. It's okay even if young Master Jing and Miss Jing are together. Who knows how long we can live? I didn't expect young Master Jing to save our lives in the end. Blah blah blah. Miss Jing. Han Yu walked out from the crowd. His body was covered in someone's blood, and he looked quite embarrassed. "Thank you for just now." Han Yu knew who was in charge. Jing Ji listened to Jing Shi, so it was better to talk to Jing Shi directly than to talk to Jing Ji. Shisheng said with an honest face, "I was just showing off in front of Zhu Feng." Who knew that the group of retarded zombies suddenly retreated? Han Yu. Zhu Feng. Why did you have to show off in front of me? I didn't want to see it. My heart was hurt. Xiaxu patted Zhu Feng's shoulder comfortingly. "Let's go first." Han Yu was indeed the male lead. He could calmly answer in such an awkward situation. When Han Yu came back, old Master Jing was seriously ill. Because Shisheng brought Zhao Weiwei back, Han Yu kept his promise. During old Master Jing's illness, the Han family's team stood by old Master Jing's side. After old Master Jing passed away, the Han family benefited from the disaster, and had more say in the base than before. He stood up and took her away first, and the others couldn't say anything. Miss Jing returned to the base this time? Han Yu drove personally. His attitude was just right. It didn't make people feel uncomfortable, and didn't lose his identity. Attending the funeral. Han Yu instantly understood and didn't ask anymore. Zhao Fu sent the group to a cemetery in the base. This used to be a cemetery, but after the base was built, it was not renovated. Some of the people who died in battle would be buried here. Because there was not enough space, there were tombstones everywhere, making it look very messy. Old Master Jing naturally occupied a piece of land, and his tombstone was much better than others. Han Yu was waiting for them outside the cemetery. During this period, people kept coming to him. When Shisheng and the others came out, Hanyu had already dealt with several things. Xiaoshu spoke on behalf of the group. Mr. Han, thank you for bringing us here. You can go ahead if you have something to do. Young Master Jing wants to go back to the villa to take a look. Hanyu frowned slightly. He wanted to say something but stopped. The villa? Shisheng looked at Hanyu. He lowered his head, and the emotions in his eyes couldn't be seen clearly. After a while he said, I'll send you there. When they arrived at the villa, Shisheng knew why Hanyu was like that. The villa was heavily guarded. There was a guard every 3 steps and a guard every 5 steps. Even a fly couldn't fly in. Hanyu had a special pass, and Jingji was old Master Jing's grandson. These people didn't dare to stop them, and could only let them in. However, there were armed guards who followed them into the villa. The villa's hall was very messy. There were all kinds of things in a mess. The things that old Master Jing liked when he was alive were thrown on the ground. There were also some things that belonged to Jingxi that were even worse. Why is the security here so strict? Xiaoshu frowned and asked Hanyu. Old Master Jing had passed away. Why was his villa so heavily guarded? Shisheng had already guessed it, but Xiaoshu and Zhu Feng couldn't, so they were very puzzled. Asterisk, please vote. Good night, yes. Not today. That you're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.